Good evening, everybody. So today we got part 2 of the debate review on who follows the real Jesus, Christians or Muslims. Okay. So as we're going to go over this, I want everybody to keep in mind, be open-minded, be solid in your opinions or maybe your thoughts. It doesn't really matter. Nadir Ahmed is who I debated on this topic, and he's been in my comments and in my emails roughing up my ear about who won this and who won that. So in part 2 of this, we're going to go over the open discussion. We're going to expose all of this nonsense like I promised him. And we will see if he provided any evidence at all to support that he follows the real Jesus as a Muslim. So let's get right into the fruit of the debate review. We may have some other people join us here soon. If they do, we will put them on stage. But for now, we're gonna get right into it. I'm not gonna sit here and wait. So let me go ahead and share my screen here, y'all. Okay. Let's check this out. So as we see here, we have Nadir's beautiful face. He's a creation from God. You see, let's take a look at this. This is a very handsome man right there. So keep in mind who that is whenever we go through this debate. And we got my colleague, good friend, Blockboy, and the moderator, TheWord&I. So go and give them a follow, check them out. And of course, you could check out Nadir too. He's got some pretty interesting debates, but keep in mind he has a tendency to go off topic. He has trouble staying on topic. So I'm sure it's going to be very irritating to listen to him. Now, without further ado, what we're going to do is I'm going to let him speak, and after we hear me and his response, I'm going to take a little pause, and we're going to go over what we said and refute his nonsense. So let's begin. Oh, I forgot to turn my camera on, guys. Welcome. Hey, let's see here. Okay, yeah, let's continue. Let's watch.
Verifiable facts. Now, let me share my screen here. You've got to at least show something tonight.
Nadir, do you have a question for them?
Yeah. So this is my question. Give me one fact to support the deity of Christ. And I don't want any kind of Bible interpretations, okay? Give me a fact to support why we should that can support this belief. Go ahead.
Okay, are you conceding that 2 minutes?
Yeah. I'll concede it. Or yeah, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, Black.
Most, do you want me to go first?
I'll let you take
respond to this. All right.
I'll go ahead.
You want us to answer a question?
Yeah. So you asked for a piece of evidence, but the whole time you were using ChatGPT. But that's not academic. That's pure. That's not even peer reviewed. So what we have is academic sources, and I could have backed up some, and I still do in my debate opening statement. It would have took too much time to go in every single detail. But if you want the actual evidence, that's fine. But I wouldn't take the moment to use ChatGPT. That's very unreliable for verified facts.
Okay. I've provided you references. I provided you a lot. Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you again. Give me one fact to support the deity of Christ.
10 seconds.
I think that time was ours.
Yeah.
I don't think
just like we mentioned before. Yeah,
it's a-
if you
I think
allow me to
we'll
just
be
jump in
okay.
just for a
I'm gonna
second.
stop. I'm gonna stop the
In
time
response
real
to
quick.
Nadir, right? You want us to answer the question without appealing to scripture, right? But
Wait,
the scripture is where we
Block, 1
find the
second.
evidence.
Real quick. I think it'll be best if y'all just have an open discussion.
Okay, let's just have an open discussion.
You present the questions and then their answer, and then y'all can go back and forth, right? And if it just get too
Okay, I want to stop it there real quick because I'm not responding to the point about the open discussion. We got into this because he kept interrupting the 2 minutes. I don't think he stuck to the format there. He has a lot of trouble with this anyway. But let's focus on what he just said. Okay, he started out the conversation, his 2 minutes, to discuss the divinity of Christ, guys, which is very far from the main stream topic. We're talking about who is going to be following the real Jesus, Christians or Muslims. Now, of course, as the interlocutor, he is very well allowed to question me in any way he wants to. But if he's off topic, then why should I entertain him? So we kind of did go along with him in a way, but we really wanted to press him on who, if the Jesus that's depicted in Islam is going to be what he follows, and if that's going to be the real Jesus. But he refused to answer this the whole time. So he starts off his whole 2 minutes with, give me a fact for the deity of Christ. Okay. And this is absolutely hilarious, of course. Okay. He talks about facts. Now, if you go over part 1 of the debate review, look at what his facts are, his so-called facts are in his opening statement. They're laughable. Guys, they are apart from what a fact is. Throughout his opening statement, he used ChatGPT to prove somehow and in some way that Tawheed is better than the Trinity, and our view of the Trinity is somehow wrong, and how the deity of Christ is unsupported, and so on. It's ridiculous. So hey Baku, God bless you.
God bless, bro.
What's up? How's your day going? How's the family doing?
Hectic. I got too much going on. Bro. I was like, someone will be here. I'm here.
All right, we love that spirit. Appreciate that.
For sure.
So we just began the discussion. We just got into Nadir's 2 minutes, so we just began pretty much. So he asked to catch up, speed you up on what he just said was, give me a fact to support the deity of Christ. And I called him out for using ChatGPT to support this nonsense. And he said, oh, I'm going to ask again. Give me a fact. And Blockboy tells him, yeah, we did briefly. Deciding the divinity of Christ is not the main discussion. It's who follows the real Jesus. So in terms of the divinity of Christ anyway, Block gave a little bit of brief evidence. I also used archaeological evidence to show the historical depiction of Jesus that lines up with the Christian understanding, not the Islamic one. So it wasn't necessarily about me proving the divinity of Christ. But that's the main point he's going to harp on for the rest of the debate. What are your thoughts, Baku?
Wow. Man, I don't know what to say about that. Was shuffle.
Get you. Is my connection good? Is my lagging at all?
I think it's good. I don't see where it's lagging. I just see where my baby is doing too much. But I can hear you clearly, loud and clear. I think it's a little bit low on my side though. It might not be due to you though.
Yeah, I'm just making sure because my bars kept popping up as like a little bit connection. So I was just making sure everybody else can hear me loud and clear. No problems with that. I can hear you good. There's nothing wrong on your end.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So we will continue from here.
All right. I'm gonna mute up because she makes noise.
All right. So.
Out of hand, I just step in.
Sure. Let's just go
because it's going to be hard to put everything. We'll go an hour.
Just
earlier my open discussion. Or,
go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to start the time. I will start now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as I demonstrated earlier, my open discussion, or not my open discussion, my opening statement, I used archaeological evidence to support the deity of Christ early on as he was
What is that? What exactly? Explain to me. I don't understand.
Complex.
Okay, explain to me what exactly is the fact there?
It's a what is the fact there? Whenever he said that during the debate, I was just laughing hard. What's the fact there? Oh, yeah, we have real archaeology. We can see it tangibly. We know what it refers to. And he's going to question, what's the fact there? So the archaeology I used was the discovery under the Megiddo prison in northern Israel. And it had the inscription. It was a 3rd century church complex. And it had the inscription, to Christ Jesus, our God. And this wasn't necessarily my point, like I said, to demonstrate, yeah, Jesus is divine. But it goes to show how the church, how Christianity, the Christians depicted Jesus is not accurate to what the Muslims represent Jesus to be. And he says, oh, but how are you going to prove that Jesus is divine? And then also asked, how is that a fact? It's a really dumb question. He's a moron. That just really disappoints me.
I mean, I've seen him in a couple. I mean, that one video, I remember seeing him even with David Wood. That was embarrassment enough to know. Let me know, kind of like mentally where he be at sometimes.
Yeah, he has a problem staying on topic too, and this is what I called him out for in the comments of the last debate review. He goes far off from what the topic is. Bringing up the divinity of Christ isn't the elephant in the room, as he tried to say it was. Let's continue. The 3rd century church complex, it's backing up that the earliest attestation of Christians worshiping Jesus identifies him as God.
Okay, so some people started believing that he was God and therefore he's God. That supports your belief. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm out around the many things that would, yes. So Block can explain to you other points. But
I got shocking news for you. The early mosque also believed Muhammad is a true prophet. Does that make him a prophet? No. Look, the early church, if you look, there are many different groups which originated after Jesus left this earth, like the Ebionite Christians. They did not believe Jesus is God, but even so, the point is this: just because some people started believing in it, is not a fact which supports this belief. That's nuts.
Okay, that's not my explanation for it. My explanation relies on many other points as well. That's what I demonstrated.
Some people started believing. That's a useless fact.
I would support the claim.
Okay. Try again. Give me another fact.
No, it's not. It's academic. This is archaeology.
Okay. That does not support the divinity of Christ that can show that this is something true. All right. Now, please provide another fact.
Shocking.
I don't get why he's trying to say it's not supporting it. Like he said, show me something's true. You're telling him something that's true, but what he want, like, how does he want you to prove a divine claim?
Really embarrassing. Called him out. It is very academic. It's not a fact. It, as he's trying to say it, is I don't think he knows what the archaeology is. Art, that is objective. It's not subjective. It's not like it's made up or somebody pulled it out from their rear end. No, that's definitely real. And as it depicts Jesus as the 1st century followers of him depicted him, that aligns with the Christian witnesses, not the Islamic one. So he calls it out, says, oh, how does this prove Jesus is divine? It does. It does, like I said, among the many other things. But then he tries to misquote me by straw manning and says, oh, but this and that and the other, that, okay, I say that Muhammad is a prophet. If I say it, then therefore he's a prophet. That's not even equivalent to what I'm saying. So he's already straw manning the point. I said, among the many other things, yes, that goes to show he is more than just a man. He really is divine. So, and even if he were to say, but I claim Muhammad is a prophet, so therefore he has to be a prophet, well, that's a problem for Islam then, because it's the scriptures of Islam that claim he's a prophet, not anything objective, unless he believes it's actually from God, which is the same for us. I believe it's from God. He is God. He told the truth. He was really crucified and risen from the dead. I have no doubt that he is divine. But Muhammad didn't prove himself. He completely embarrassed himself all the time. You have anything you want to add on that? I think you spoke. I didn't hear you. Sorry.
I might have to I might have to join back in like 30 minutes. I gotta do this with my daughter.
Okay.
Be back in like, if not 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes.
All righty. Yeah, no problem.
All right. I'll be back.
Yes, ma'am. Excuse me. So without further ado, we're going to continue, y'all.
Go ahead. How about you, Block?
The archaeology is supporting evidence, though. It's supporting evidence that backs up one of my points that I mentioned earlier in my introduction. Early church succession and belief, right? Apostolic succession and belief. So they got their teachings right from the apostles, who got their teaching directly from Christ. Christ taught, right, that he is the Son of God, something that doesn't line up with your Islamic religion. So let's start there, right? The Son of God, the incarnate Word of God, right, which lines up with what I brought from before, a historical, archaeological piece of evidence that proves
what are you
that
talking
the Bible
about?
is
I have
reliable.
no
So that
idea
you
what you're
can't say
talking
it's circular reasoning. P66. Nadir, hold on. We let you speak.
Hold on a second. I'm confused.
Please.
Listen, if I don't understand what you're
courtesy.
talking about, you got to give me clarification. Okay, are you going back? Is what you're saying?
Yes, I'm going to clarify, but you can't interrupt me, Nadir. Nadir,
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Please.
Okay.
So please don't interrupt me. Yes, I'll share my screen if that's what you want. You want me to share my screen?
This is the divinity of Christ. Okay, go ahead. Let's see.
Yeah, go ahead, and we can re-show him the points. I'll bring it up.
Okay, hold on.
Is he lagging for you guys too, or just me?
Yeah, he's lagging a bit.
Yeah, it's lagging. It's really lagging. Yeah, my bad. Are my responses delayed?
Not really. It just cuts in and out.
Okay. Well, this is where I'm trying to go without interruption. Nadir, please allow the courtesy for me to fully explain my point, right? We're talking about archaeological evidence, right, that attests to Christ being God. Now,
Mr. Kufar Phobia, welcome in. I sent you the link in your TikTok DMs if you want to join. I did start a little late. I wasn't feeling well earlier, so I had to reschedule for 4 o'clock instead of 2. It would have been 2:30 my time, 3:30 EST. I wasn't feeling too well, so I rescheduled. All right, cool. Well, can't wait for you to join in, bro. Without further ado, I'm going to continue, though.
Let's brought up a point, right, of an inscription that says Christ, our God, right? And you're saying that circular reasoning just because people believed it doesn't mean that it's necessarily the case. What Muslims trying to do is trying to point this as supporting evidence for the early belief of Christians. Now, Well, I'm building off of that by saying that in my earlier introduction, right, there's also archaeological evidence from early manuscripts for the belief, right, and the apostolic succession, right, of what was passed down in teaching directly from Christ himself, right? So you can't say circular reasoning. If Christ says something, right, you're going to have to take that as fact, at face value, right? There is
It's all
no corruption
circular
or
reasoning.
distortion through those church fathers that I mentioned. No, it's not. No, it's not. The
Okay.
point here is, Nadir, right, that when I mention P66, right, a papyrus, right, that an early manuscript that contains a large section of John's gospel from chapter 1 to chapter 14, right, this archaeological piece of evidence is also going to lead us to believe that this is what Christ taught himself. For example, John chapter 12. I went over, I remember going over it in my
Okay,
introduction.
I think let me
as to where
respond to
Jesus
some of that. I
predicts-
think
let,
before we, let me.
let's let
okay.
Nadir rebuttal.
So
if he has.
here,
Okay, before I let Nadir go on for his rebuttal, I just want to make a brief comment. Okay, Block is giving facts, objective evidence, and he's saying, "Oh, is that a fact or not? Where is the fact?" You got it. Listen, I love Nadir. I love him as if he were my own brother, because he is a brother in humanity. I do not hate him. I very well love him as Christ loves him, but he is a moron. He really is a moron. He's an idiot. And I think he really needs to sharpen up his knowledge and start working on what he decides to be truth or not. Because what he calls facts right now is embarrassing. Okay. So Block brings ancient manuscripts that support the depiction of Jesus Christ and what he taught, what he led, who he is. Okay. This is archaeology. This is objective. This isn't non-facts. This isn't subjectivity. This is not at all something that was made up or edited, revised. It's none of that. Okay. These are objective sources. He is saying, where's the fact? Let's put something in picture here. His quote, fact, is going to be his use of ChatGPT or his subjective opinion. Never once throughout this entire debate will you see him bring up objective evidence. He'll either use unacademic sources like ChatGPT, encyclopedias, blogs. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's all you're going to see him say throughout the entire debate. Okay. So I want to make it clear. What me and Block has substantiation for the fact who Jesus is, what he taught, what he led, and so on. So without further ado, let's hear Nadir's rebuttal. Okay.
here's the thing. The only thing you're going to try to prove that the New Testament is so authentic, and therefore these are the true words of Jesus. Okay, so that's going to be just as laughable as your first attempt. What it comes down to, in fact, let me share my screen over here. This is just the church believed in it. The early kooks and quacks of the Roman Empire believed in it. Are you guys familiar with Dr. Richard Carrier's article, Kooks and Quacks of the Roman Empire? These are the kooks and quacks of the Roman Empire that you are following. Some of these goofballs believed that Jesus was God. Now, listen to the article here. We have all read the tales and told of Jesus in the Gospels, but few people really have a good idea of their context. Yet it is quite enlightening to examine them against the background of time and place in which they were written. Okay, there is abundant evidence that these were times replete with kooks and quacks of all varieties, from sincere lunatics to ingenious frauds, even innocent men mistaken for the divine. And there was no end to the fools and loons who would follow and praise them. Okay, so telling us today, well, the early church believed he was God. And of course, the early church also believed he was not God. There was the Ebionite church. So look, I'm going to go back over here. Do you understand why I cannot add this on the Christian? This is not a fact which would encourage somebody to believe that Jesus is God. That because the early church believed in it. Okay, so I try to understand this does not support the claim, because as I've, in a debate you actually have to respond to my points,
Nadir,
not just move on. Okay,
we gotta
so
let them respond. We gotta
okay, hold on.
to
Now
that,
I'm gonna
to that
hold on.
course
I
you
have
just
one thing
brought
to
up.
say. I showed you that the early mosque believed Muhammad is a true prophet. Does that mean Muhammad is a true prophet according to you guys? That's silly reasoning. All right. So now you have to respond to these points, and explain to you, and you have to show no why this does support divinity of Christ claim. Go ahead.
Okay, really quick. You quoted Richard Crooks. You know he's a mythicist. Okay, his dialogues. He has a PhD in history, right? But he's a prominent mythicist. Why would you trust him as a reliable account for or telling of why Jesus isn't divine according to the Roman Empire? That's not really reliable on his account. So in terms of academics, he's placed in the very bottom of it. A lot of academics criticize his views. Now, Blockboy, did you have anything to say about that?
I think Black Boy might be frozen.
Well, can I first respond to that real quick?
Let's see if Black Boy, do you have your connection back?
Looks like he's back. Keeps on going in and out.
He keeps glitching. Go ahead, Nadir. Once he comes back,
Yeah,
he can...
this is a classic example of the genetic fallacy. Dr. Richard Carrier is a great scholar, and he's the undefeated champion of. For example, this was an article back in 1998 where he exposed the fraud of the early church fathers. Since then, all your Christian scholars have ran away from him, from debating him on the topic of church fathers. So you guys talk trash behind his back, but none of you can face him and really debate him on the topic. And I've been watching this very closely, but that's all beside the point. The issue is this. Look, if there are some goofballs, or what you guys call the church fathers, who started believing Jesus to be God, well, that's kind of obvious. That's not a reason why we should believe in him, that we should believe that Jesus is God. And I've shown you why this is nonsense. So you need to respond to my point. The early mosque believed Muhammad to be a true prophet. Does that make him a true prophet according to your reason? No, of course not.
No,
This is the kind of silliness you're presenting to us.
Okay. So Richard Carrier, as I pointed out, is a mythicist, and you're going to see how I'm about to absolutely decimate this claim. Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it. But where am I seeing him presenting facts for the depiction of Jesus in Islam? He quoted, "Oh, I got the facts. I presented them for who Jesus is in Islam." Where do you see him at? Okay. What did he say about this, folks? Let's go to the past debate review and check out the comments. We'll see this nonsense for ourselves. Because no kidding, this is exactly what he just said. He completely said, I presented the facts on the Islamic side that Jesus is the real excuse me, I'm having a hard time coughing here. He said he has the facts, or he had the facts to support the Islamic version of Jesus. So I'm going to share my screen here. We'll come back to the debate just 1 second. Present a little bit of a different tab. Let's check this out. No kidding. Exactly what he said. Check it out. You guys see this? Look at all this. These are the comments from yesterday. Look at Nadir. Look at him. Not a single one of these people said the Christians did a good job, nor could they point to any single good response. Rather, this was a show of solidarity. But the main argument, elephant in the room, is the divinity of Christ has no facts to support it, which the panel just avoided. Both Christians have committed to the slavery debate and no members either. No, the elephant in the room is not the divinity of Christ. The elephant in the room is who follows the real Jesus, Christians or Muslims. Look what I responded with, addressing a different aspect of whether he is God or not is not necessarily related to the main elephant in the room. Okay, he went far off from the topic. He could have provided evidence of what he called facts to support that he really did follow the real Jesus as a Muslim, but he refused to. We're watching this right here, guys. What is he debating? He's debating he's debating with unacademic sources on whether Jesus is God or not. It's absolutely hilarious. So he refused to address it. He had ample opportunity to, and ultimately he failed to prove it. Now, check this last comment out right here, though. Who went off topic? But I did provide, hey, let's keep this in mind, folks. But I did provide the facts which supported the Islamic version of Jesus. I shared my desktop and listed them. Okay. We went over his opening statement yesterday, or not yesterday. We went over this. You can go check the last debate review. Well, go look at his opening statement for me and see if you can point out anywhere where he listed the facts to support the Islamic version of Jesus. And let's keep an eye on this open discussion. Let's see where the facts he presented. He said he shared the screen and listed points of them. So let's keep an eye out, guys. Because so far, I'm only seeing him quote Richard Carrier, a mythicist. So this will be pretty interesting, guys. Let's continue. So without further ado, let me take down the screen. We'll get back to his nonsense. Let's see. Oh boy. Kufar Phobia, welcome in, bro. You. Okay. There we go. Stage. What's going on, dude? How you doing? I think we can hear you. You are talking, it's your mic's not coming on. Let's see.
How about now? Oh, okay, shit working now.
Yep, there we go. We can hear you.
I don't know why it does that. It keeps changing my mics every time I get on stream. Anyway, good to see you. And like I was saying, you couldn't hear me. I did not realize how young you were. I was like, man,
I'm 19.
I'm impressed with your knowledge at the young age, man. I got to say.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Oh, yeah, Nadir Ahmed, man. I think I only deal with him when I'm feeling bored because that dude is dumber than a doorknob.
Oh, yeah. He says we got kooks and quacks. He's the quack and the kook. So.
But I'll tell you what, if you could arrange it, that's how bored I am because I can't find a Muslim. I would be willing to debate him if he can prove his Quran is the words of Allah imperfect, just for the giggles.
I highly doubt it. He says, when we first met him and proposed a debate, he initially said he accepted it in the email, but he invited us onto his channel to discuss it. So when we discussed it, he started asking, "Oh, who's your Muslim or not Muslim apologist, your Christian apologist that you like?" And I brought up all kinds, like David Wood, a bunch of them. And he starts harking back on them and say, they refuse to be apologists. They only do polemics. And he tries to ask us, give me my title. I am the best Muslim apologist out there. He's now trying to get into debates against Christians doing apologetics. So I highly doubt he is going to accept the challenge. Now, you can call him out. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll get his sense back into doing Muslim apologetics. I can ask him.
I debated him back on Pal Talk when I used to have a room. And we debated Muhammad in the Bible. And we never got out of Deuteronomy 18 because I wouldn't let him use his silly, well, Muhammad had a beard and Moses had a beard, and Muhammad was a warrior and Moses, So all of the stuff that he was using, he would not go to the Bible or to the Torah where it mentions what a prophet like Moses was. So when he realized after about an hour that I wasn't going to play his game, because then I came back and said, great, if you can use that, then I'm going to use that Moses didn't marry a 6-year-old and do her when she was 9. He didn't have all these wives. He didn't have slaves. And he didn't like that. He's like, no, that's not what I mean. I'm like, what do you mean? You're making up your own criteria. This is my criteria as to why Moses is not like Muhammad. Yeah, he left, never came back.
Wow. Well, we still have the open discussion right here. I'll catch you up to speed. Have you already been watching it so far?
No, I think I came in maybe 10 minutes just before Banco had to leave.
Okay.
And
So,
I just got back from walking the dog.
Good. So he's been failing miserably to point out no facts to support whether Jesus is divine or not, which again is way off topic. Then he goes in and tries to expose our thinking, saying, oh, it's mythological. And he uses a guy named Richard Carrier, who I quoted, is a mythicist. So you're going to see this absolutely hilarious rebuttal to it. And his face, it's like it's just blank. And then he says, oh, but that's the genetic fallacy. So,
yeah, I heard that part. Yeah, he's very well known for, and it's not just him, it's most Muslims. They have no idea what evidence and facts are. This guy will claim everybody is some kind of scholar, even though the person has nothing to do with the topic. He will try to divert the topic, right? The topic will be about A. I think with me, he tried to, we never made it to John, but it's like, for instance, if you are, oh yeah, he did. He's like, well, you have to prove that Deuteronomy 18 is about Jesus. I'm like, no. That other Muslim yesterday tried to pull the same thing with me. I said, no. We agreed, okay? You said Muhammad is in the Bible. I'm just here to prove that he's not. I don't have to prove that it's Jesus or Santa Claus or whatever. They try to get you into this back and forth. And when they realize that, okay, this guy's not going to go for it, he's going to make me stick to my claim. And then that's when they go all over the place. So, yeah, he thinks he's the greatest debater since sliced apple pie. But the dude couldn't debate his way out of a wet paper bag if his life depended on it.
Yeah. Real embarrassing for him. But without further ado.
Did he tell you that everybody's running away from him?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did. He said, oh, David Wood's running away. I just watched a debate with Muji because I'm debating Perfect Dawa and his partner on Modern Day Debate on the 25th. I watched this debate with Muji during the Q&A with him on the topic is Sharia law good for humanity? That was the debate. Nadir calls David Wood out to a debate in the Q&A, and David's like, okay, we'll do it. We'll do it. And he says, James, okay, you heard him, James. Let's set it up. And James is like, okay, we'll do it. And he's saying, but they're running from me. No, they want nothing to do with him. He has problems. He cannot stay on topic. What's the point in entertaining him? I mean, he's been debating for so long. He's known for going off topic, not using facts, being a complete moron. Who wants to debate him?
I mean, I would debate him just for the entertainment factor.
Me
right?
too. I would.
That this guy, one of his favorite topics that I haven't seen him do in a while is science in the Quran. I mean, he claims that nobody can defeat. I think I saw that video on his channel where you and Block were there, and I think you guys were discussing the debate. And he had brought something about he wanted to do that if he did science in the Quran, that he wanted you guys to do science in the Bible. But you guys were saying that's not the topic that we were talking about. So he was
that was the discussion we had initially with him.
So he was
like, the debate. He was like, "Yeah, let's do a debate about whether there's scientific mistakes in the Bible." And then the slavery debate, which we are going to be doing maybe sometime in November. Maybe I don't even know about November yet, but we are going to do that with him because it's going to be burden of proof. So it's going to be slavery and the Bible versus Islam, or slavery and Christianity versus Islamic slavery. So that one's going to be pretty interesting.
Does that cover any particular period, or just because we all know that even Saudi Arabia, they didn't abolish slavery up until the 1960s.
That's right.
I mean, and even today, it's still going on, right? Most people, if they were watching, saw the videos from Libya when, when they took out the poor guy, they were still going on. They had videos of slave markets where you see all the, African slaves. So even today, you have, ISIS. Man, I keep thinking I'm on TikTok. I was going to say, ISIS, but yeah. But anyway, I'll let you get back to, and hopefully Banker will go back to your review.
Well, as I said, this response that's coming up is going to be hilarious. So let's take a look.
Okay, y'all can respond.
Nadir, really quick, Nadir. This would be a quick answer. Do you believe Jesus existed very prominently?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the guy you quoted doesn't. So he's a prominent. Whoa! This is Nadir Classics right here. So you see that blank face? Watch this. Mythicist.
It's a genetic fallacy.
My genetic fallacy. He won't say, okay, I disagree with him on that. And then move on. No, he said genetic fallacy. So either he believes in Richard Carrier or he doesn't. He believed in his quote about the kooks and quacks of the Roman Empire, but he won't believe him. Well, maybe he does on whether Jesus existed, but he obviously just admitted he does, but Richard Carrier don't. So it's hilarious.
What exactly is a genetic fallacy, and how is that applicable to, you have a guy who clearly doesn't believe in what this guy's using him for? I'm not familiar with the genetics. I would think the genetic fallacy would have something to do with genetics.
I'll explain. So genetic fallacy is when you criticize a source because of its origins or anything related to however you want to criticize it, whatever it relates to something you disagree with or something. So it would only be if it's inappropriate. So my criticism of his source is appropriate. It's not inappropriate. I'm not criticizing it just because I simply disagree. It's unacademic, and it's criticized heavily in scholarship to begin with. It's scrutinized. So maybe those people who scrutinize and write critiques on Richard Carrier are committing the genetic fallacy too, but he has a big problem with that. The only way you can't be committing a fallacy is if what you are doing that the fallacy talks about is appropriate. So I'm not committing this by criticizing him. It is definitely an appropriate criticism, not anything apart from that.
Right, I got you.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's continue.
She's back.
It doesn't matter.
my criticism of him, I mean, you're calling it out to be a genetic fallacy. My criticism of him is appropriate since this is an academic debate. I mean, we have to use reliable sources. The whole time you've been using ChatGPT, that's not academically reliable.
The points ChatGPT pointed out were absolutely correct. They did the logical deduction and reasoning to show you that the conclusions, when I use ChatGPT, I'm showing you the conclusions I'm coming to is also verified by AI. AI is a devastating tool to these false pagan religions because it exposes your wacky, quacky type thinking. So no, I will continue to hit you guys with AI because it really is the
What's
beginning
wrong
and the
with
end
him?
of your pagan religion. So yeah, so I don't think there's any problems. Let's get back to the issue.
Black
Your
boy
first
is back.
attempt to show facts failed. Now you want to
Okay, I'm gonna stop him right there for just one quick brief comment because we have, we do have a lot to get through, so I want to keep it, short and spiffy on this. Yeah, what's wrong with it? That's for sure. So his use of ChatGPT is not appropriate academically, and I called him out on this multiple times throughout the debate. You're an academic debater. You're coming on my channel to do an academic debate on who follows the real Jesus, Christians or Muslim, and he's using an academic source, which is not 100% correct all the time. ChatGPT is biased. It fits the user's narrative most time or what it sees, and especially if you don't have its reasonable thing like Pro or the extra, the $200 subscription, the $20. There's more advanced reasoning on there. He's saying, oh, it comes to the same conclusions as what I come up with. I mean, that's completely subjective because we'll see it later on in the debate. He manipulates it to get it to say that the divinity of Christ is mythological. So
I guarantee you, if I use chat for the same thing, I would get a different answer. See, my problem with chat is that if you don't have any background on the topic that you're engaging with chat, I'm not an expert with chat, but me and chat, we have conversations back and forth like we're two lawyers, right? But I mean, chat tells you right there, don't just take whatever. I do look at the sources that chat will use, right? But if you don't know how to use chat and you don't know your subject, and the problem with Muslims is that, and Central Dawah did that to me, but I'm a little slicker than him. When he said, well, chat says that John of Damascus mentions Islam in the Quran. It doesn't, because I use chat all the time. And I did a 72-page book on these sources. So you do have to be careful. And when it comes to Islam, you're right. Chat is very standard Islamic narrative biased.
That's right. So it's always important, and Inspiring Philosophy pointed out, and it was a good thing he did. I mean, I kind of already got the clear idea, but when I don't remember which video he did on it was, but anyway, the concept was he always wanted to make clear that you fact check your AIs. Okay, not every time are they going to give you the right answers, like Gemini or even just standard Google AI. They're not always going to give you the right answer. It was the Lily J video. It was stupid. The AI quoted Lily J's video and used that as a source to prove that. So claim.
Oh man, I did 6 or 7 videos on Lily J and her BS.
Yeah. Let's continue though. We do have a lot to get through. It's funny. The use of AI. I'm gonna let it skip past because again we already called it out. There's no point in responding to it at this point. So
I go to the P61 thing over there. Maybe this will help you. Go ahead, show me one fact to support it. Go ahead. What's the problem? Show it to me. Yeah, what's the problem?
Yeah, P66, early second century manuscripts, right? And on the topic again of archaeology, we can use this to combat the claims of circular reasoning, right? We have multiple secular scholars who also attest to the fact that Jesus, again, you said this was off topic, but Christ's crucifixion, which is also going to be attested to and alluded to through what Christ said in those manuscripts, P66, P90, P52, which I mentioned earlier and previously, right? So that's the point, right? We're not going on a circular reasoning. I know you said, Nadir, well, the earliest Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet believed that he was a true prophet, but by your standards, you wouldn't consider him a prophet. And we would agree with you on that case, but the difference comes in the link through historicity. Not only do these manuscripts correspond to what's being propagated in the Old Testament in connection. I didn't get to go through that in my presentation. There's many links. I'm sure Russ brought it up too. There's many links from the Old Testament to the New Testament, right? We can talk about Psalms 22, right, in relation to Matthew 27. Right, and the crucifixion account, all of which is documented historically. We even gave you historical scholars, right, New Testament scholars and atheists who attest to this fact. So on topic, this last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll let you respond. On topic, when we're speaking of who believes in the correct, authentic Jesus, we're taking the position that the true authentic Jesus that Christians follow is the Jesus who was crucified. And I'm willing to guarantee you have no rebuttal or authentic response to that. Can you show anywhere from history that denies the crucifixion, Nadir?
The crucifixion is from Lucifer. Simple. An evil story which put 6 million Jews in the gas chamber. That is a wicked, evil story. Okay, so there you go. I've just refuted it. You got to understand that sometimes.
Oh, there we go. I just refuted. His claim is I put 6 million Jews in the gas chamber. That it's from Lucifer. He says, "There we go. I refuted it."
That was ridiculous.
I could claim. Well, the caliphates, and when they were established, what Muhammad led, that killed hundreds of thousands of people after he started his founding of Islam. Okay, well, then his religion is somehow genocide. He's not a prophet who would preach maybe peace or tranquility among the people, spreading a positive message. No, he was a genocide. He was a killer, a murderer, and who committed genocide and commanded people to commit genocide. Therefore, I disprove that Muhammad is a prophet. See, that sounds ridiculous. So his rebuttal to whether Christ is crucified is this nonsense. And we're giving objective evidence. And that's what Block is going to be pointing out the whole time. Okay, we're staying on topic. We're following the real Jesus, the Jesus who was crucified. His rebuttal to that, no, it's from Lucifer. That's a forehead scratcher for me.
I mean, if he's going to go that route, which I don't understand what the connection was. I mean, I can use the fact that during the Muslim reign in India, they wiped out 80 million Hindus over a span of 800 to 1,000 years. So could I say, I mean.
Wait, what was that again that you just quoted?
No, I was just saying that if you look at history, now this is something that's not wildly, you're not going to really read about it, but during the time when the Muslims invaded India, now they never fully controlled all of India, but the areas that they controlled, which was very vast, and this is on the low because nobody really knows the extent, but I have one historian from India where he talks about 80 million Hindus were unalived during the,
You guys say unalive, bro. You can say killed.
Oh, man, I keep forgetting. So after 2.5 years, so 80 million, Hindus were slaughtered, massacred. And you ever heard of the, I think it's called Mount Kush?
No. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, well, the reason he gets his name, it's supposed to be a mountain full of skulls. And these guys, these, whatever you want to call them, rulers, at times for entertainment, they would, there I go again, unalive. They would slaughter 100,000 Hindus just for the hell of it.
Wow. You guys tell me that. I'm interested. I want to know more about that because
here's something
that'd be interesting.
It's off topic, but here's something that I have never seen. I think it would be a great debate and it would destroy Islam. comparing Christianity to Islam, let's say the first 300 years, which one was more persecuted and which one was more violent and which one spread by, let's say, the sword? I mean, it's a win-win for Christianity. Nobody's willing to do that.
Well, without further ado, let's continue.
You could do that. I just think it's ridiculous to do argument was he said is Lucifer. Like, wow, oh my goodness, you got it. Bang bang. Just might as well drop the mic. What was that?
He won the debate hands down. Let's you guys just needed to quit right there, man. He got you.
He might as well have this debate shouldn't have been called Musk and Black Boy versus Nadir. It should have been versus ChatGPT. Because that's all he used.
You're gonna see that. I have a response similar to that. But what I pull up right here is going to refute his idea of ChatGPT. And this is a ChatGPT account I've never used. It's fresh. Okay. It's not used, haven't touched it. It's not biased to how I feel or it doesn't know me. So this is brand new. It's most likely not going to give a positive answer. It's going to give a neutral answer. I'm not going to spoil what answer it gives. I have it up on my screen, like literally aside from what I'm sharing. And you see it's obviously up there too. But it's going to be hilarious. So without further ado, let's go.
The demons can pervert scripture. And what I tell you, Christians, is you're going to burn in hell with the same demon who wrote Thessalonians in their book. Islam, why I believe in the crucifixion story of the Quran is because it took what Lucifer wrote in the Bible and it did away with it. And it says he was not killed nor crucified. And now look at the effect that it had on history. Where do you see in history that Christian Muslims are killing Jewish people because they are the people who are guilty of deicide or the killing of Jesus? You don't find that. It brought peace and serenity to the world. That's why I believe it. So the issue tonight is I don't think you understand how evil the crucifixion story is historically. But I want to get back. I don't the crucifixion, we could talk about that, but let's focus on the divinity of Christ. Now,
okay, I'm going to stop it. You guys don't even have to make a comment if you don't want to. I just want to make it short and spiffy here. Aside from the crucifixion, let's talk about the divinity of Christ. Wow, that's amazing. He really wants to talk about the divinity of Christ. And as I showed his comments on the last debate review, he says, oh, the main elephant in the room is the divinity of the Christ. And I said, no, the main elephant in the room is the topic. Who follows the real Jesus, Christians or Muslims? Okay. The depicted Jesus, as we know it in history, was crucified and resurrected. So he was also identified as divine. No, that's definitely going to be a part of the topic, but the main discussion is not proving he's divine. That's the depiction that he's divine is what we're involved in. He's giving this quacky, kooky, whatever he calls it, comment on that. It's just embarrassing. So he says,
"Oh, hot mess."
Later, let's talk about the divinity of Christ.
What he's trying to do is what he's known for. He will try to divert you. The Muslim that I debated yesterday, well, I wouldn't even call it a debate, from TikTok. Maybe you guys know him. He goes by the name of Shirk is Evil, anti-Islam with the fire. And the topic was, so I had sent him a DM because, usually when I see these guys being all, macho and, they think they know it all, I'll usually send them a message and say, hey, I'm looking for a Muslim who can debate this, right? So I sent them a message and I said, hey, can you prove that your Quran is the words of Allah and perfect in a debate? And he's like, yeah. So we started going back and forth. So that was what we had agreed on. Of course, he's like, but he didn't want to do it on a neutral platform. And I knew it wasn't going to go well. He didn't want to do it on my platform, didn't want to do it on the neutral. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to his platform. So I went to his live stream and I told him, listen, I'm recording this. And I posted it up on my YouTube channel. So we went from debating, is the Quran the words of Allah and perfect? And then I mentioned I went to his page and I noticed he was boasting that he roasted God Logic, right? And he had a clip on Muhammad being in Deuteronomy 18:18. And I told him, hey, I saw your video, right? I said Deuteronomy 18:18, Muhammad being in the Bible. I said, we can do that. So he agreed, right? So I said, it's okay. So you're going to prove to me that Deuteronomy 18:18 is Muhammad? He said, yeah. First thing he asked me, he shifts it and says, so who do you think Deuteronomy 18:18 is about? I said, irrelevant to the debate, right? Because it wasn't, I'm going to prove is this. Can you prove, I said, you said it's Muhammad. I say it's not. I don't have to prove it's Jesus. I don't have to prove it's anybody. All I got to do is prove it's not Muhammad. It's irrelevant. And what these guys will try to do, and they've done it to me before. Well, prove it's Jesus. I don't have to. Oh, do you believe it's Jesus? I said, it's irrelevant. See, I argue like a lawyer. It doesn't matter. We have a topic. This is the topic. Let's not divert. He is the king of that. He will try to segue and he will try to goat you into it because he knows if he goats you into it, guess what? You're going to go down the Nadir Ahmed rabbit hole.
Right.
And of course, I guarantee he claimed
I just want to remind everybody. So when we just pause for any comments, because I want to let it play for a little bit, so we can get a clear picture of everything, not make respond to little bits and pieces of everything. So that way we can just have a little bit shorter response. So this doesn't have to be longer than it needs to be. It's already at an hour. So without further ado, we'll continue with the no, you're good. With listen to this nonsense.
Try to produce something. It's a P62 manuscript.
Okay, let me respond to that really quick.
Hold on a second. Okay, you want to respond to this about the New Testament? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, about the crucifixion story. Go ahead, please.
Sure. Before block response. So earlier you used ChatGPT to express that the divinity of Christ is mythological. So I have it up on the screen right here. Let's check out its response. Is the divinity of Christ mythological? It's breaking it down. Look at this from a historical perspective. Okay, so we don't even have to watch that. I'm just going to share my screen on that real quick. No necessary comments to add, but I'm just going to share the screen. So let's check it out. How do I remove? Okay. Check this out, y'all. Okay. It's the same chat. So, is the divinity of Christ mythological? Now, let's point out some things here. Okay, because this was his claim. Scholars who approach Christianity as a human culture will often compare Christ's divinity to mythological patterns like Osiris, Dionysus, Mithras. The divinity of Christ may be seen as theological or mythological construct, as maybe rather than a historical fact. Christianity is not seen, the divinity of Christ is not seen as mythological or revealed as truth. From a comparative religion perspective, some scholars might suggest that the language of the divinity in all religions, including Christianity, uses symbolic or mythic forms to express truths beyond ordinary experience. From a philosophical perspective, if mythological means a symbolic story expressing truth, then yes, the divinity of Christ can be understood mythologically. That doesn't mean it's false. It all means it's fictional or invented. Interesting. It really depends on what framework you're asking from. So it's giving a completely neutral response. Nothing about it. It's saying it's a confirmed and well-known fact that the divinity of Christ is mythological. It's saying it could be seen it could be seen as that through so and so forth perspectives. It's not saying that it's completely a firm fact. But when he pulled up ChatGPT to show us that it is, he manipulated it and it said, yes, it is mythological, and goes on to say why. Why did my response give a neutral perspective? It didn't say, yes, it is. It gave a neutral perspective. And this is why it's ridiculous how he uses ChatGPT in this manner. So without further ado, we're just going to move on. We're going to continue. So debate, put this back on stage. I'm gonna just skip over it. We're gonna go back, go past that to his response. So scholars who have stories, but is revealed in
Something
the
from
context.
okay. Let's
Hang
get
on.
back to the issue
Hang on,
tonight.
just let me this divine copied from other sources.
ChatGPT is just like a death blow to the false religions. All the false religions, the Hindus, and they're all complaining about the AI, which is destroying their religion. Okay, you pagan idol worshippers are the ones who are running from ChatGPT, and ChatGPT has already defended itself on those claims. They said that's a genetic fallacy. They're the ones who actually pointed out. But the issue, I want to get back to the most important point of why what about this debate is, where do the facts support? I have given you ample time to show just one fact that supports the divinity of Christ. Let us show for the record tonight, there are no facts to support this. And there are a lot of facts about the divinity of Christ, alleged divinity of Christ out there. And this is why I follow Islam. When you look at the facts, they all support what Islam teaches. Okay. And I think you tried to show something with a P62 manuscript as if somehow this is going to lead to the conclusion that Jesus is God. This man has come down in human form. But you failed that as well. I don't want to go on any more about this. I think I've given you ample time to produce facts to support your belief. So let's move on to the next point, which Answer with Mus was pointing out, and that is the issue of plagiarism. As all scholars will accept tonight, Son of God, God coming in human form, which is exactly what you guys believe in, all comes from pagan religions. Now, to your question, will show me that they actually copied. My counter question is, how do you explain this type of similarity? I mean, the concept is there. That is undeniable. Jesus being the Son of God is a pagan concept. God in human form, human sacrifice. These concepts are all found in pagan religion. So the question I have for both of you guys, it's the quantity of pagan similarities. How do you explain that?
Wow.
Okay, I'm really confused here. The topic I'm seeing here says debate: who follows the real Jesus, Christian or Muslim?
Real quick, I want you guys to keep. Excuse me. I want you guys to keep in mind something about the debate, because he said, and I want you guys to pay attention to this comment. He said, "Okay, I did provide facts which supported the Islamic version of Jesus. I shared my desktop and listed them." So, because he tried to go back and forth with me on the first part of the debate review, and I called him out. He says, "I provided facts. Who went off topic? I gave you ample time for you guys to dispute my arguments. You never, but you never once said in this debate, these are not facts. Now the debate is over. You're claiming I never gave facts. This is unacceptable." We're watching it now. Okay. Now, like I said, keep in mind, let's point out if he ever gives any during the debate facts to support that the Islamic version of Jesus is what is objective, or he gave any facts for that at all. He said he shared his desktop and listed them. So let's keep an eye out for that. But among all other things that we should take a pause and comment on there is his embarrassment of presenting somehow connection. He says I was talking about plagiarism, by the way, when I went to the mythology, whether the divinity of Christ is mythological, which had nothing to do with plagiarism, not necessarily. That was ridiculous, but he kept criticizing our evidence. So I think he was committing the genetic fallacy, and that was hypocrisy. But he says, "Oh, they're not facts." They definitely are, as me and Banku went over. It's really embarrassing to say that archaeology is not fact. or what archaeology tells us is not facts? Well, we have several narratives that are supported by ancient manuscripts, which, guess what? Determined by unanimous decision in scholarship, virtually every scholar is going to agree Jesus was crucified and he was risen. So the resurrection, historical event. He proved he was God. Very simple. That was not even necessarily what we needed to go over, but he decided, oh yeah, we need to talk about that divinity. Just big problem. Big problem. You guys want to add any comments on that?
I was just going to ask you, where can I find the debate on whose channel? No.
This is on my channel, right here.
Okay, because I'm looking at your YouTube account and I don't see it.
Just go to my playlists, and or you can just go to the live tab, and you'll see it.
Okay,
It won't be in videos.
I'll go check it there. Yeah, I want to leave him a message. See if he responds.
He's a little bit of a dummy. He's got, maybe he's a half brain. Who knows? But we love him, like I said. Without further ado, Bonka, did you want to add anything on the comment?
I'm just astonished. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm just astonished that this is. I feel like he wasted y'all guys' time because he's not being serious with what he's trying to argue and how he's trying to argue. And I think it's pretty sad to call yourself an academic, but instead of actually using those expertise, you use Google Chat GPT. Like, that's sad.
And he should know better too, because he told us when we had a conversation with him that he studied to get his undergrad. So being an academic student, you should know that you cannot use unacademic sources. Now, he said this was like 20 years ago or something that he was trying to get his undergrad. Nothing has changed since 20 years. You still cannot use unacademic sources in an academic paper, an assignment. You don't use you don't use unacademic sources. Absolutely not. Unless, like I gave an example, unless the study was about ChatGPT, okay, fine, cool. But if it was a debate, if it was a paper, no, you don't use ChatGPT. It's embarrassing. But let's continue.
Right. So again, similarities in this case is not gonna indicate a direct copy. But to go back to the point, right, of you just try to brush off, the crucifixion, whatever, or P66. I'll go along with you just for now concerning plagiarism, right?
Hey, I just want to keep you guys in mind, and Bacher should remember this from last time. There's going to be a little bit of lag in between the conversation, so just keep that in mind. We try to reconcile it the best we could. Block and me were kind of having some trouble, but mine kind of picks up and it stops lagging, but Block's kept cutting in and out, and it kind of had to delay. So just keep that in mind. Anyway,
we have in chapter 4, Jesus' apparent
He's breaking up.
crucifixion, which didn't happen according to the Quran. According to the Quran, it didn't happen. It was made to appear as though, right, Christ was crucified, but they didn't really kill him, right? But again, this comes from, this comes quoting
He's breaking up.
heresy
I can't hear
that
him.
came from, the 3rd, 4th century, right?
Block,
so I don't understand,
you're
Nadir,
a little bit.
right, how you're gonna get around this sort of issue you have. To say that there's no plagiarism even from your own religion, even from Islam, right, is really gonna undermine your argument against Christianity, and to point out some sort of plagiarism just because there are minute similarities, right, between each religion. Like, it's nonsensical to me, right, in this.
Okay.
case.
Hey, Black
mind if I
Boy,
build
It
on
really
that?
doesn't make sense.
real quick,
Unless if you wanted to add on to that, feel free.
Hey, Black Boy, you might want to turn your camera off because it uses less bandwidth because you're jumping and you're skipping. It uses less bandwidth if you.
He was breaking up. I didn't
If you want to
understand.
repeat the point, Block, that'd be great.
Yeah, turn off your camera if you could, Block.
Yeah, you want me to repeat the point? I got you.
Yeah. Just turn off the camera.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah. So the point was to criticize your understanding of plagiarism from our scriptures, right? You compared it to Hinduism, so on and so forth, right? I said it's not necessarily the case that there's plagiarism just because there's minute similarities between two religions, right? And then furthermore, I went on to say that it's very hypocritical for you to bring up plagiarism since the Quran is going to not only plagiarize, but even the scholars plagiarize when it comes to the case of chapter 4:157, which denies, again, back to the crucifixion, right? All your scholars say Jesus made some other individual take his likeness and be crucified in his stead, a story which comes from the 3rd or 4th century Gnostic heretical teaching from Basilides. So your Quran and your scholars are plagiarizing a non-authentic source.
Block, I want to briefly build on that point just really quick. I'm not going to say anything else about this because again,
I got to respond to him. Can I respond to him?
Wikipedia. I'm going to briefly just say this, unless Word&I suggest that we shouldn't.
Yeah.
It looks like to quote ChatGPT to show the mythology or unreliability or paganistic plagiarism of the Bible. So, I mean, if I go to Wikipedia, I mean, scholars who are asking their students to write papers, they would definitely not want them to use Wikipedia because it's not exactly academic. I mean, it does give good citations, but it's not an academic source. So if we want to go unacademic for unacademic, the Quran assumes the reader's familiarity with 5 major narratives recounted in the biblical, apocryphal texts, and summarize some, dwells at length on others, and in some cases presents alternative accounts and interpretations of other events. The Quran describes itself as a book of guidance for humankind. It sometimes offers detailed accounts or specific historical events and often emphasizes the moral significance of another event over its narrative sequence. So look at this.
Okay.
Even Wikipedia does not agree with.
Before he responds, there we go. That's a defeater for him. If I want to use academic sources like Wikipedia, or he can use ChatGPT, I can use Wikipedia. And Wikipedia definitely don't agree with him, as you see there. Wikipedia completely agrees. Yet there is plagiarism, or the Quran derives from other narratives. So he can talk about plagiarism as much as he wants, but like Block said, he's trying to point out minute similarities. These don't prove plagiarism. I mean, it definitely is a part of how you determine that something is plagiarized, but that's not the only criteria. So it's absolutely ridiculous too. So I find it hilarious, to be honest. What do you guys think?
I agree, man. You already heard my opinion. It's the same thing. It's just ridiculous. It's just disrespectful to debate.
Now, I gotta say, I have no problems using any source as long as it's well, referenced, that I can go check. Now, I will use Wikipedia if it's referenced. Now, I'll go check the references. This is why I have a library just on Islam of over 6,000 books. I just get everything or download everything, just for the fact, it's going to come handy at some time. Some Muslim's going to say, oh, this book says something on this page. But as long as it's referenced and the references are credible, I mean, I don't have a problem with this. It's not the source that's the issue. It's what the source is giving you and how can you verify, the accuracy or the authenticity of the source. So I'm not against using any source But you got to be able to back it up with the source says.
So this would be related to the academic aspect, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't use unacademic sources in an academic debate. Of course, that's the main point here. But yeah, Wikipedia is okay in the sense that you can quote or use it for citations. I mean, you go down to the very bottom of every article, there's going to be hundreds of citations. I mean, always fact check the citation, of course, but these articles and their citations or facts they give can definitely be accurate at points, but simply quoting the article to prove a point, no. You would have to quote the actual citation, which would be academic, not the Wikipedia articles itself, because it's unacademic. But without further ado, your basis that the Quran is...
If I am being hypocritical, that has nothing to do with the pagan similarities which you have been faced with, the questions you've been faced with here. That is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. If you feel and think, and I will answer you guys on the Quran, but that's so irrelevant to the challenge you guys have been faced with. Minute similarities. These are not minute similarities. These are, very well. I mean, again, that's a wacky, quacky interpretation, but you got to understand what's happening here. You are being judged on if you are presenting facts back. When I give you a fact, you give a fact back. But what do you guys give? Going off on topic? You're talking about wacky, you present wacky, quacky interpretations back, like minute similarities. Let us show for the record, for every fact you guys are confronted with, you give quackery back. Okay? That's unacceptable.
Okay.
As a moderator.
Now, here's
as the moderator. Hold on, real quick.
Boy.
Let me.
This is a good part of the debate, because this is where pretty much TheWord&I, and because he's only there to moderate, as you just heard of. But at this point in the debate, this is where TheWord&I and Nadir have a mini debate. So you guys are going to love this.
Yeah.
Because I think we're talking past each other at this point. What do you consider as a fact, Nadir, so they can present the fact that you're you're asking for? Because
you see, if you have to ask that question, then that means you're in big trouble. You should know what facts are. You should understand what they are.
I'm just the moderator. Nadir, hold on.
I will teach you what a fact is. Now you want to listen. Hold on a second. They've had their time to talk.
I'm the moderator. I'm not debating you, brother.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to clear up, what are you wanting them to present as facts? That's it. So they can get on the same page as you, because they're bringing papyri and archaeology, and you're saying that's not facts. Okay. So what do you deem?
No, I didn't say that.
Being facts?
You're not keeping up with this debate. Number one, I did not say that. I'm waiting for your conclusion.
You denied everything that they brought.
Didn't you guys hear earlier that he said those aren't facts?
Yeah, he said it's not facts. And the whole time y'all been presenting actual facts, he's saying it's not facts. He wants a truth fact statement. It's like, what is a true fact statement if what you're presenting is true, archaeological wise and scholarly understanding wise, but you're saying it's not true. What the freak do you want, man? What do you want? God dang.
This is a knee slapper right here. You said, no, I didn't say that. Oh, that really should be a clip or something. Maybe I can make a clip on that. I have you know what? I have a funny clip from God Logic I'll use on that. Let me timestamp this real quick so I can remember that for sure. So that's 1:22:14. I'll write that down. Let's continue though.
Okay, look.
And you said that's not facts.
I can't debate three people.
You mind if I respond?
I'm not debating you. I'm trying to clarify.
Okay, you know what? I can't. No. You've presented some papyrus baloney stuff, but you never were able to show how this papyrus will make us believe or leads to the conclusion that Jesus is God. You've never finished even why. You never explained. Look, now you want me to teach you what facts
did.
are, which is the
No,
precisely. Hold on, okay, don't interrupt me. I didn't. Now it's my turn to talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
That
Go ahead.
is
Pause.
that is exactly the point which I want to make, which I've been making in this debate. Christianity is not a fact-based religion. It's a quackery-based religion. For every fact that you hit them with, they come back with quackery. So, like, I'm going to show you what a fact is. Okay, Christians, the Jesus of the Bible
Can we respond?
resembles. Hold on, this is a fact, not from ChatGPT, which is a great source to destroy the pagan religions. But look at this is a New World Encyclopedia. The concept of God having a son, that is found in ancient pagan religion. That's a statement of fact. The same concept is found.
My bad. I didn't hear that. Sorry. I was just looking at the private chat. You wanted me to pause there?
Yeah, I was saying, initially he gonna say that the papyrus that you're presenting is not saying Jesus is God. The argument is Jesus is God, right? Is to present who is the real Jesus. So it's not a divine, but he keeps running to it. It's like he does not comprehend what the argument is actually about. Either he doesn't comprehend it, or he's intentionally, like you guys be saying, trying to change the topic.
And I have to say, I mean, I love Word&I, but as a moderator, he didn't do a good job, because as a moderator, your job is to make sure that both opponents stick to the topic. He should step in when Nadir is throwing up, stuff up. Well, the P doesn't prove that Jesus is God. Stop it right there and say, Nadir, that's not the topic. The topic is who follows Jesus more.
I don't think he did a bad job because. Go ahead, Mo.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say.
I don't think he did. I'm saying I don't think he did a bad job because, like, a moderator is, what I'm saying, like you keep the peace, you keep the time, all these other type of things. And yes, if they get too off topic, then that's when you correct them. But the fact that he's running isn't affecting the argument because Muslim and Black boy are still keeping him to the topic. That's his fault. He doesn't understand the discussion.
Yeah. So Kufar, I would disagree, and you'll see it a little bit later on after, because he points out we're talking past each other. We're not actually sticking to the topic. We get a little far off on the plagiarism and stuff. Word&I does point us back to the topic so we can actually make this open discussion more progressive. But his appeal to the divinity of Christ, it's not necessarily related, because he's harkering on it like it's the main subject that we have to prove that Christ is divine. Yeah, but he's trying to draw it, like somehow make a connection to the topic. Like me and Black pointed out, it isn't related. So maybe Word&I could have stepped in on that, but it progressively, it was on Nadir to draw the connection, and obviously he didn't. So that's why Word&I kind of jumped in there. He's saying, "Oh, what's facts? What do you think facts are?" So I'm glad he did that. Let's go ahead and continue, though.
Found inside the Bible. That is a statement of fact. God in human form. Okay, this is coming from the Vedanta Society of Southern California. This is talking about the Hindu beliefs. God coming in the form of a human being is a belief in the pagan religions, and yes, the avatar is also found inside Christianity. Human sacrifices. Now, telling me that, look what the Quran teaches, doesn't explain, and I will answer this. I'm just going to ask you this for the last time. How do you explain the clear pagan concepts in your belief of Jesus? Now, stop talking about the Quran. Answer this question, and you got to provide a fact back. not some kind of quackery. Go ahead.
Okay. Nadir, I'm gonna try to give a brief point. Let Block jump in on this too. But earlier you said we're being judged by the challenge you're giving us. I'm not being judged by what you're telling us. I'm being judged by ChatGPT, bro. This is not a reliable source. And you're even using the New World. Remember that, Baku? I said I told you that was going to happen. You said it might as well be a debate with ChatGPT. Like I pointed out, I'm judged with his manipulation of ChatGPT. That's what's going on. Hilarious. Encyclopedia. That's drawing from Wikipedia. It's not academic. It's not peer review. You talk about facts and evidence. Listen, I want to respond to you with love and grace on this, but you have to know that as an academic debater, what you have to quote is academic evidence. That's what we've been quoting the whole time. I gave you books by reliable scholars that are experts in the field of witness of Jesus and whether he was resurrected or not, like Bart Ehrman and Richard Bauckham. I have more evidence from other scholars like Gabriel S. Reynolds on the genealogy of Mary when he talked about the nativity of her, that she definitely does not come from the priestly tribe of Levi. Okay, but you're having this focus on the divinity of Jesus, not based on academic claims. Okay, you're using unacademic sources. So Block is giving you archaeological evidence. Same with me. So he's giving you papyrus, which details the outline of Jesus's identity. Okay, if Jesus is identified as God, then that is a form of evidence. Okay, but it also relies on other accounts which makes him God, like the resurrection, which testifies that he is more than just a man with claims coming out of his mouth. He's not a lunatic. He proved that he was God. He was crucified and he was risen. Block, you have anything else to add on to that?
Well, no, hold on. I can only reply to one guy at a time, then Block can go. I'll respond to you. So,
hey, real quick. So that divine avatars, let me give them a fact. So avatar actually means divine incarnation. And in relation to Hinduism, divine incarnations is what happens. Excuse me, I think it's Krishna that manifests age after age in the Bhagavad Gita. And there's this multiplicity of different times when the gods, plural, in Hinduism become avatars. Krishna has several avatars. So considering what an avatar is, it's not in any way related to a son of God. That's unique to the Christian literature, the Bible, and what the church fathers tell us about who the Son of God is, what we should understand from that. You know, anything about how we understand that's going to be, he's claiming to be divine, the divine Son of God. That's not related to an avatar of Hinduism. So that's just to point out, avatar literally means divine incarnation. So it's just stupid. He's a moron. You went for a long time. Let us at least reply to all that. I got
to respond to one guy at a time here. You see, I've asked you to.
Okay, he chose to have a 2v1 debate, and he's saying I can only respond to one guy at a time. This is his fault.
Nadir, just allow me to say one thing before you respond.
Okay, just hurry up so I can, because it's hard to respond to both you guys. Okay.
Who's complaining? Why is he complaining? Right. He chose to have a 2v1. He's complaining though.
Speaking about us responding to how Christians are somehow pagans, I hope you realize that the term pagan was coined by Christians in the 4th century actually to denote people who were not of the faith. And that would include yourself. You're a Muslim, right? You deny the core teachings of Christianity, what Christ said about himself. Therefore, I could call you a pagan. I don't want to be disrespectful, but that, according to your logic and according to history, that's what it would entail, right? So again, that's just my response to your claims of Christians being pagan, right? There's no evidence to support that true Christians, true followers of Jesus Christ are pagan if they uphold the teachings of Christ laid out in the scripture, backed up by the archaeological evidence presented in this debate today. So I'll allow you to respond.
Okay, let's look at the facts. So, I've asked you, answer was Moose. I've asked you very clearly the pagan similarities between the concept of Jesus and what we see in like other ancient religions. Okay. You started talking about your sources are unauthentic, unscholarly. Look, but you're not denying the content of my sources. You accept everything I'm saying, that yes, avatars, Jesus God coming down in the form of a man. This is all found.
Here, I'll pause that and let you guys decide. Did I agree with any of his sources? Did I agree with that?
Heck no. That man delusional. You ain't never agreed with none of those sources.
Yeah, Muslims, especially him, are very, very slick at trying to make it seem like you agree. Like he tried to pull that with me. Oh, you agree that so and so, and I'm like, Nadir, I have never agreed to anything that you said. Right? So they try to sucker you to see, and this is why when I have conversations with Muslims, I will never concede to anything. If I know it's wrong, I try not to concede for the sake of argument. No. Because you're giving in to the Muslim. And I actually did a video, which I usually don't do too many, where, what's his name? I call him Little Anus. He was on a live stream with David Wood, AP, and Logic. And he brought up and tried to say that, there's evidence that the Torah was considered the Tanakh, right? And that's not true. There is no sources. There's no evidence. There's no Jewish sources that point out that the Jews have ever considered the Torah, the whole of the Tanakh. And they considered and said, oh, for the sake of argument. I don't do that. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm not going to concede. And I don't think anybody should concede regardless of what the debate topic is. If you know it's wrong, it's wrong. To concede, to just progress in the debate, I guarantee you that's going to be used against you. So I don't concede and I don't agree. If it's true, yeah, I'll agree. But to say, when a Muslim says, "Oh, you agree," no, I didn't agree. So yeah, he's famous for that. Oh, by the way, as I'm listening to this,
that's all that was, is a hot mess. Yeah. Let's keep it $100.
As you're doing,
you don't need to debate no more.
As you're doing this, I'm having fun with my cousin Chat, giving me all the references to show all the pagan practices that Muslims do today.
I'm very unimpressed with him. I just gotta say, I'm accepting it. I haven't denied that I accept it. That somehow entails that I accept it. I just exposed him. And a little bit later on, you're gonna see that I continue to expose him. I call him out for the Trimordy thing and him trying to compare the Trinity to the God of Hinduism and stuff, because he said this in his opening statement. So he says I deny it, but
found inside the ancient religions. That is something which you are not denying. So this is called a genetic fallacy.
I'm not denying it, and it's the genetic fallacy. Wow.
The source. So there's no point to go and give you more scholarly material when you already agree with the content. You already agree. Now, the issue about, let me give you another, the most important thing here tonight is when I give you a fact, you should give a fact back. And you people are not doing that because Christianity is not a fact-based religion. In fact, the moderator even asked, what's a fact? To ask that question in a debate really is bad.
No.
Okay,
he didn't ask.
He didn't ask what's a fact.
He says, what do you consider a fact to be? Ridiculous.
I'm not going to ask that question. I know what a fact is. Let me give you a fact now. So to respond to Block, I'm not going to give my interpretation. I'm going to hit you with a fact. So other people, other experts not that their authorities have also kind of weighed in on this. It's just not Nadir who's saying, you guys, that the concept of Jesus is pagan. I've shown you. In fact, let me get back to my document over here, which I closed. Other people are also weighing in on this. The Jewish people, who are the custodians of monotheism, it is they, as well as academics, secular academic scholars, are also coming to the conclusion that this is clearly a pagan religion. Okay, so let's go to the original custodians of monotheism. Jews.
What academic scholars?
Hold on, please don't interrupt, please. Okay.
Yeah, that was a
Custodians
good
of
question, which I wished he would have answered when I interrupted him. What academic scholars? He says I list the facts. He says I have scholars. What scholars? I know I presented scholars, but apparently he did, or just said there is scholars. But you guys see him? I don't think I heard of him, because as far as I know, he's using ChatGPT and New World Encyclopedia, and the only scholar he gave, so-called scholar, Richard Carrier. He has a doctorate. That's for sure. But he is a mythicist.
I ain't gonna lie. If I was you guys, I'm just talking about me. I would have ended that debate. I would say, you know what? This is ridiculous. Either I'll be ending it, or I would did the same thing he would did, and then start doing Chat GPT. And every time he would ask that dumb question, see, you don't know what facts is. You don't know what facts is. Okay, cool. GPT, what's facts? That's facts. Hey, now there, GPT says this is facts. I guess you're gonna take that, right? Because that's just ridiculous. Like this, I ain't gonna lie. This is aggravating me the most, because how the freak can you run a whole debate on Chat GPT?
That's right. Now, I will explain something. My objective with these guys, and I knew he was already like this before I started the debate, but that's what I want to do. I'm going around the table debating some of these known Muslims who are, you could say, morons, some of them nice people, some of them who have different views, to present to them love and grace, and also demonstrate to them what they've been following all this time ain't true. Think that's it's going to be a good thing to do. I'm sure not many people would be up to that because they feel like it's a waste of time. I brought Block on. He agreed to do it, but he didn't necessarily want to be involved with that kind of. He's not necessarily involved with going around the table with me. I just asked him to be my partner on that because me and him are trying to do some academic debates at the same time. So let's see. He didn't want to do the one with Perfect Dawa. Because Perfect Dawa was only talking about whether Islam is peaceful or not, or whether it's good for society. So Locke wanted to talk about Tawheed and Trinity with him, but he refused to do it. Now, anyway, let's continue.
Monotheism. Jews brand Christians as pagan, and they're the ones who are sounding the alarm. Let's get now. I quoted also. I showed you from the AI. It gives you the historical reference. Why I'm quoting AI? Because I didn't want to buy the book. Okay, which basically documents.
Did you guys hear that?
He said he didn't want to show the book.
What you guys think about that?
No, I think he said I didn't want to buy the book.
That's lazy.
Yeah.
But here we go. Let's go to the website, My Jewish Learning, the largest nonprofit, non-denominational Jewish media organization in North America, excuse me. It says over here, states very clear. Actually, this is the article which states that they actually accept the Islamic view of who Jesus is. But, and I lost my reference. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, I'm sorry. Where's my reference here? I'm lost. Okay, well, I'll get you a reference where the Jewish people.
That dude lying. That's why.
Yeah, that's why I said to pause. Did he just say that the Jews agree with the Muslims on Jesus? I mean, the Jews don't believe.
Yes, he said that.
The Jews don't believe Jesus is a prophet. I'm sorry, not the Messiah.
What kind of legal substance is he on? That's all I want to know. Because why? That's why you couldn't find it. You can't find it. Just like you couldn't find that verse with David Wood. He was like, oh my goodness, it did say that. Like, it wasn't there, buddy, to begin with. No Jew agrees with no Muslim on the perspective of Jesus.
I mean, no Jew believes that Allah is the true God. No real Jew, forget about Tovia Singer. No Jew agrees that, that Allah is the same God as the God of the Torah. No Jew believes that the Quran is the words of God. And no Jew believes Muhammad is a prophet.
Baby Nadir, like Nadir said when he came up, I think he's gone senile. All right.
That Christians are pagans. So now you've got secular scholars who will agree with that. Now you've got the Jewish, the custodians of monotheism are
Secular
also
scholars.
agreeing on that.
Who? Did you guys hear him quote us? Who? Where they at?
You just weren't listening to the list of 20 guys that he rattled off. I took a break. Yeah, I'm telling you, I know this guy from Pal Talk, so that's like 13 years I've known this guy. This guy is just amazing. I mean, he makes dumb look smart.
I agree with that. I would definitely agree with that, that's for sure.
So these are all facts that I'm hitting you with. Now, each and every fact doesn't exactly prove it beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt that I'm winning or that Islam is right, but they add. You see, they kind of add to the case. And when you look at the screen here, there are no facts to support Christianity. And when we look on the right-hand side, the facts which we know all support Islam, that really kind of answers the question here. So what I have been trying to get you guys to do, put some points on the board here. Put some points, show that this is a fact which does support divinity of Christ. And you people are not able to do that.
You got to let them respond now, Nadir.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip. Actually, I am going to play our response. But like I said, whenever he addresses that we're doing the divinity of Christ, we'll just skip past it and not even really address it because we've already addressed it. Points on the board. Remember what I showed you guys. His comment was, I provided facts which supported the Islamic version of Jesus. I shared my desktop and listed them. He says, I'm giving points to show that Jesus is not divine. You give me points. You give me facts to support that Jesus is. Yeah, we already agreed. That's not the discussion. It necessarily is it. And it shouldn't be the elephant in the room like he quotes it is. It's not. Whole discussion should not be about whether Christ is divine. But it was balanced between whether he was divine or whether there is plagiarism. Not once did he ever address the Islamic version of Jesus. I mean, we're going to continue to find out. Neither did he once address the Christian understanding of Jesus, unless it was whether he's divine or not, which is not necessarily related. So, quacky Nadir.
So, real quick, I want to touch on just a couple of things. So, these vague generalizations that you're giving us to try and show us that.
Okay. Remember what I said. I'm going to give a response to that Hinduism, the so-called plagiarizing from Hinduism, because he said, I accept it somehow. So I really wanted to call him out on this. And he says, I don't care about this. So it's
Christianity is plagiarizing from other pagan beliefs. It's unsubstantiated. Okay, you're quoting Hinduism. You're quoting Brahma, the Trimurti. The Trimurti is not even similar to the Trinity. The Trimurti includes the creator, preserver, and destroyer. This is a cyclical nature of God. It expresses his oneness, not three persons in one divine essence. They're no way similar. John, his gospel, Matthew's gospel, Luke's gospel, Mark's gospel, they're writing to a Greco-Roman and Jewish audience. The Hinduism, the Sanskrit, is writing to Indian culture. So they're no way related. You have to demonstrate that the authors of these texts have access to what they're plagiarizing from. That's number one. And two, that they're inspired to plagiarize it. So I challenged you on this before, but it seems like you ignored the point. Okay. That's very crucial to helping us understand if it's plagiarized or not. You can't just say, oh, well, it's similar. Okay. That's not explained. That's not evidence. So, Locke, do you have anything you want to touch upon?
Yeah, and I'm gonna turn on my camera for this one because this one is gonna really hit home. All right. Nadir says, right, that any minute similarity from Christianity to Hinduism is going to result in some sort of plagiarism. Okay. But when we look at like some sort of pilgrimage practices like parikrama, right, from the Hindu faith, and Hajj from the Islamic faith, right, according to Nadir's logic, according to your logic, Nadir, this would also be plagiarism and paganism by definition because you're sharing the same practices, right? So look, Nadir, unless you want to concede to it being plagiarism and paganism, I would highly suggest retracting that statement and taking a different approach or argument.
The Jews going
Okay, can I respond now? Can I please respond?
Is Hajj plagiarizing from that too?
Okay, can I please respond?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought this up because now I'm going to teach.
Block had an amazing point. So Islam plagiarizes from Hinduism. That was a great point, but the pilgrimage part also derives from Passover, possibly, maybe, because the Jews from all different lands so you could identify it as pilgrimage, but they all come to Jerusalem for Passover. So it could be plagiarizing in multiple different ways because he says it has to be the similarities to be plagiarism. Plagiarism. And as I pointed out to him, no, it's not just the similarities alone. You have to determine if the authors of the narrative had access to what they're plagiarizing, whether they're inspired to plagiarize it, whether there's any context related in what they say that is contradicting what they would be plagiarizing from. There's so much criteria to determine whether it is plagiarism or not, and he's disregarding it, saying, "Oh, it's just because of a similarity. The concept is still there." We turned this around on him, and it backfired. So look at his response.
Teach the Christian goofballs how to respond with facts. Okay, saying silly things like, "Oh, but they're minute similarities, and look, that you have to prove that they actually did copy it and all stuff like that." So now I'm gonna.
Can we not name call? Okay. Can we not name call?
Okay. Now I'm going to teach Christians. You see, because that's a big difference here. The difference is that Islam is a fact-based religion. Christianity is a wacky, quacky, interpretation-based religion. So now you said, look, there's some similarities between the other religions and what we find in Islam, like the Hajj and things like that. So let us see how the Quran answers you. So it is a statement of fact that the Quran argues and provides the following explanation. So let me go ahead and share my screen right here. And the fact which I would like to present to my audience here, because Islam is indeed a fact-based religion. Let me get over there. Here we go. It states in the Quran, inside chapter 16, verse 36, that we have sent messengers to every community. Basically, so you've got all the community people have messengers. So it's quite possible that their original message have been scattered in different books. And so let's look inside chapter 22, verse 35. For every people we have laid down rituals of sacrifice. And so And so that is why you will see that in Islam that there's some similarities here with maybe another religion. That's because the original source is from God. Islam does not limit what's it called, divine, or what we call inspiration, to just the Abrahamic prophets. No, we believe that even outside the Abrahamic prophets, our religion teaches that even inspiration and guidance came to every group of people on earth. And in fact, you were talking about the Hajj. That's perfectly fine, because we believe that originally, well, first of all, the idol worshippers of Mecca were really not pure idol worshippers. It was a monotheism which was perverted with idolatry. So they actually agreed and that we believe and follow the God of Abraham. They believed that, and many of their tradition, and they accepted that Ismail came to the Arabian desert and established the pilgrimage and stuff like that. But then they began to ascribe partners to their belief. So my point is this: Islam provides an explanation for why we see the similarities, but the Bible doesn't. Okay, so there you go. This is called fact-based debating. I'm providing you facts. Now, the question which I have for you guys is whether you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. That's a separate issue, but I just want to make sure that I've provided you facts and not interpretations or some kind of quacky explanations. Go ahead.
You know what I should have pointed out? I should do like a word count on screen, like maybe an edited little video of every time he said the word fact. That would be very interesting to show his ridiculousness. And as you see, Block is ready to give a very funny response to. You're gonna see this nonsense. I'm gonna let us respond. You're gonna just watch our response for now, and then we'll comment on this. It's hilarious.
Okay, so allow me to respond. Right, again, Nadir, I guess it's perfectly fine to plagiarize from pagans, because again, right, we see the similarities even within Islam. This is Sahih, right? Al-Bukhari 4370.
So that's all I wanted to show. Block pointed out perfectly. Nadir is demonstrating to us it is okay. He says, but there's messengers sent to every land. Okay. So what they are drawing from Islam is reflected in their culture. And what they reflect in their culture is pagan practices. So it's okay. It's okay to plagiarize, I guess. And what do you guys think about that? I mean, that's heavy. That's very heavy on him to accept that Islam plagiarizes from pagans.
Well, I mean, from what I'm getting from him, he's trying to say, well, it's not really from pagans, because you see, they weren't really pagans. I mean, they had 360 idols, but it was still monotheism. They just got confused and added 359 more idols to it, right? I mean, I'm looking at the stuff that that Islam does that you can find in paganism, right? But I guarantee you, they wouldn't call it paganism. They would say, it's like they put lipstick on the pig, and then they say, well, that's not a pig, it's got lipstick. But if you look at the stuff, right, you have animal sacrifice. That was done by the pagans. You got shaving of the head, because I guess you're supposed to shave your head when you go to, on the Hajj. They throw stones at the house of Satan, because I guess he lives in the house. They use the crescent moon, which we can show that was practiced by people who, it's from the moon god, either Sin or Habul. They have sanctuary zones. Well, the pagan Muslims also had that. The sacred months, that's also from the pagans. Zamzam well, that's it. This one I can't even pronounce it. Talbiyah chant, fasting and lunar observance. I mean, you can go on and on and on. You can pick up at least 20 different things that Muslims practice. Hey, kissing or touching the black stone. Oh, that's not pagan. But if any other religion does the same thing, then it's paganism. Now, it's true that a lot of religions, and we could probably say even Christianity, might have adopted things that might have been considered pagan. But if you if you adopt something or a variation, that doesn't mean that it's original to it, right? But if like I said, if the Muslims do it, right? The pagans used to go around the Kaaba. They used to go back and forth between the two little hills that they pretend are mountains. Right now, maybe they did it naked, and now the Muslims have a little white robe, but it's still the same thing that pagans did. So how is that any different?
So he says the Quran gives an answer for this, okay, for our claims that it's deriving or plagiarizing from pagans, and saying, no, the Bible doesn't. Actually, it does, like I pointed out. The authors of the Bible are writing to a unique audience. In context, in light of everything that they point out, everything that they say, it's very, very unique. Okay. Abraham, as depicted in Genesis, is a very unique character. Anything that claims something else related to it without considering his sons, him being a part of the covenant story. I mean, look at the narrative in context. He's saying, oh, well, the Son of God is related to Avatar. No. John chapter 10, verse 36 through 38 points out again, Jesus says he is the Son of God, but he points out this is a divine claim. He says, I and the Father are one. That's number one. And then he says, the Father is in me and I am in the Father. This is a divine claim. He is the divine, the unique divine Son of God. The Bible answers it is not a plagiarized claim. It gives us an answer. This was written to a Greco-Roman Jewish audience, not to an Indian culture audience. And of course, none of these authors would have had access to Indian philosophy or pagan narratives. No, they lived in ancient Judea and Samaria. No way would they have possibly, maybe, that's a very little chance, like a 1% chance they probably would have had. Because, you did have people that did come from all kinds of lands, of course, but that an Indian culture having a heavy influence in ancient Israel is very unlikely. So much that the gospel authors just had to plagiarize from it. And since they did, they had to die for it. That don't make no sense to me. I'm just saying. It don't make no sense. Now.
6, right? It says, we used to worship stones, and when we found a better stone than the first one, we would throw the first one and take the latter. But if we could not get a stone, then we would collect some earth, i.e. soil, and then bring a sheep and milk that sheep over it and perform the tawaf around it. So take this, right? The pagans were walking around their stones that they used to worship. And in Hajj, you take from those same pagan practices, Nadir, right? In your religion, right? And you roll with it, right? So can you now admit, Nadir, that you, right, if you've ever done a Hajj, are taking or plagiarizing from the pagan practices? If not, again, this is going to be some hypocrisy on your part. And there's no way to deny this. Again, this is graded Sahih. It's an authentic source. But I'm really sort of hyper now because, again, this is crazy. The amount of hypocrisy and reasoning that you have been using is just insane, off the charts, right?
Yeah, and
Sorry,
all of that is.
let me jump in
asking a
real quick.
question.
Let me jump in real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Nadir.
Okay, so we're about to get in those 2-minute segments here. I need to go run to the bathroom real quick. You guys keep the stream entertained. You guys can talk among yourselves about what just happened. But I need to run to the bathroom. You guys can go ahead.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
Go ahead, Banco ladies first.
I mean, I don't know if I should be adding more onto it because it's like I think I've already said the totality of how I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, even him trying to say there's no paganism, like who you lying to? There's paganism in Islam to this day. To the day. To the day. So I'm trying to figure out what delusion he's underneath because he seems to think that ChatGPT was the go-to for a debate, and now he's trying to claim Islam doesn't have paganism. So at this point in time, he's just seeming more delusional than serious.
I mean, the thing is that I don't have a problem with chat, but you got to be very careful, right? So I put together, it's probably maybe 2 or 3 pages. I was just curious about the, I told chat, because me and chat, man, we have some really great conversations. Some days I want to wring its neck if I could. Other days I'm like, I learned something. But I just wanted to see what practices do we have today in Islam or rituals that we can connect back to pagans. And they gave me a whole list. Veneration of the Kaaba. That was done by the pagans. What's that? Circumambulation, going around the Kaaba. That was done by the pagans. Kissing or touching the black stone. That was done by the pagans. Running between Safa and Marwan. That was a pagan practice. The Hajj months. That was a pagan practice. Stoning the pillars, which supposedly, like I said, supposedly Satan lives in there. That's a pagan practice. Even Ramadan. Ramadan was borrowed. The lunar calendar and the crescent symbolism. That was paganism. Prostration and prayer facing a shrine, meaning the Kaaba. That was paganism. I mean, we can go on, but
Paganism here, there, everywhere.
well, I
You
mean,
can get a paganism. You can get a paganism. Just spread it out there like peanut butter on jelly, because that's Islam. The
it's like,
toast to
We'll
the.
have a feast on pagans, man.
I'm telling you,
Lay it out on the table, a buffet, man.
what's that saying? Don't
there you
throw
go.
don't throw stones from inside a glass house, or don't throw stones at a glass house. That's what Nadir's trying to do. You see, it's not really paganism. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Allah, it doesn't matter if it came from non-monotheists and or the Jews or the Christians, because hey man, Allah was the God for everybody. I mean, that would explain Muhammad's supposed claimed father was Abdullah, the slave of Allah, and he was a pagan.
All right. Well, it goes to show he is absolutely ridiculous. But we're gonna see, because we're about to go in those 2-minute segments, and these aren't gonna last long. We're pretty much going about to get to the end of the debate. So I'm gonna finish up strong on that. There's like an hour left of it, not of the debate time, but the video, because we spoke with Lil Deer for about an hour. You can go watch that for yourself if you want to, but it ain't really nothing special. Nadir comes back up and starts arguing with Lil Deer, though. I might skip to that. And show you guys. It's funny.
Respond, but this is kind of going away from
It's off topic.
Jesus and who follows Jesus. But I will let Nadir respond.
Did you guys catch that? Whoa.
This is off topic.
Yeah.
Oh, now he wants to admit that.
Yeah. I mean, he's the one that's been going off topic, but yeah, man. Let's get back to the topic. Yeah.
Amazing.
And then let's try to bring it really back in to see exactly who follows the real Jesus and his teachings.
Yeah, and I hate to
agree.
repeat myself.
So what can we do like a 2 minute before I move into this? Okay. So we finished out 45 minutes of the discussion. That's what the word "nice" says. So, let's take this into account. Okay, I'm trying to think of the comment here. He says, once again, I did provide facts which supported the Islamic version of Jesus. I shared my desktop and listed them. Okay. In those 45 minutes, did you guys see any evidence for that?
You already know that's a no.
I mean, I saw a lot of claims, but I'm still waiting to see one shred of evidence.
Yeah, just amazing. Back and forth, cross.
2 minutes.
To us,
sorry.
and then
out Christ.
You can go ahead and respond to that, and then after that, we'll go into 2-minute segments.
Yeah. As a moderator pointed out,
Go for it.
Whether if I'm being hypocritical or Islam is being hypocritical, or Islam is being copied on some of these issues, that is irrelevant to why we see a pagan Christ. That in no way explains.
Whoa! He's telling us we cannot critique him using burden of proof. That's what he's telling us right now. We cannot tell him that, and that's not what Word&I is pointing out. He's pointing out that all of us are going off topic. Whole plagiarism thing, and of course, including that he's hypocrite going off of the plagiarism in Islam too. It's all off topic. So it's not exactly he's trying to straw man the Word&I there. You might as well just have a debate with him. I don't think Word&I wants that. He's already annoying. Nadir is just hilarious, man.
Errors of being hypocritical. As I said, I've already explained to you, and it's like you just totally ignored what I was saying. All right, it has all been answered to you by the Quran. As I said, the pagans, and I will repeat myself because I think maybe you may not have a background in Islam. We all agree that it was Ishmael, and the father of Abraham, who established the Hajj. They do believe in a one God. But what happened was that faith got corrupted. So there is, so the belief of when Islam came and instituted the Hajj block, so you can learn a little bit about Islam, it was a restoration. Do you understand what the word restoration? It was restoration which restored this institution back to its original form. Okay, because what happened, and so in fact in the Quran, it would even there's even verses of the Quran when they said, "Who created the heaven and the earth?" When you ask the pagan, they say, "Okay, well that is Allah, that is God," because they did acknowledge. So again, I repeat for you, they were not real. I mean, the pagan idol worshippers of Arabia were not in the pure sense. They were a monotheistic belief that got slightly corrupted here and there. So that's why you see the similarities, because Islam came to restore those practices. So we're going to leave the topic of pagan influences on.
You guys can comment on that. What he just said. That's crazy. He just accepted that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, man? Kufar, I know that's right. That's running rampant right there. He is.
Like I said, I've known the guy for 13 years. He's the gift that keeps on giving. And today we have more, but I think he's the original. Well, as a matter of fact, he's the first Muslim I ever debated.
Original pagan only Muslim.
Yeah.
All right, maybe that's Nadir's new nickname, the original pagan only Muslim.
Yep.
All right.
Oopsie. Y'all ever watch play Mortal Kombat? The old Mortal Kombat. You ever played the old Mortal Kombat? I'm talking about 1999.
I was gonna say the old. That's a long time.
Okay. Well, yeah, he is young. There's a move you do on there, right? That's kind of like a fatality or something like that. But what they say is, whoopsie, because it's like a It's like a knockout mistake. Should never did that type of thing. And that's Nadir. Nadir is Luke Kane getting, punching him in the face. And you hear the whoopsie throughout the whole debate.
It's Nadir. Baby Nadir.
On the concept of Jesus, I think I've given you ample time to provide facts. And I asked you guys in my initial, that's my 2 minutes, but I did ask you guys, how am I doing in terms of providing you facts? And you guys never responded. Go ahead.
All right. Now we're going to bring it back to the realm of Jesus and who follows Jesus. You can start it off with your 2 minutes. Now, right now, y'all have been going back and forth for 45 minutes. So I think 3-4 minute sessions of these two minutes will bring us close to the hour mark, and then we'll see if everyone fleshed out their arguments, and then we'll decide from there whether you want to continue.
That's interesting what Word&I said. No, never fleshed out the arguments because he didn't stay on topic. But he's known for that. So anyway.
It's 2 minutes. We'll have to. All right.
Who Jesus was and how he was depicted in this. So, I mean, we pointed out plenty of times throughout the debate a lot of great points concerning who Jesus was and how he was depicted in Islam, which included his genealogy, his religion, and his role in Islam. But again, these are points you're not addressing. You started with the divinity of Christ. So we're going way off topic because you're focusing on the role of him in Christianity, which is historically based, as we demonstrated. Why don't you focus on the role of Jesus in Islam? It depicts him not as a Jewish rabbi who adhered to Judaism. Since you claim that,
I just want to point out, because we just mentioned what Nadir's comment on that was. He says he provided facts. He shared them on his desktop and listed them. Well, there is his opportunity. So let's see if he does it right here.
Judaism refers to one God, and Islam depicts one God. Somehow they worship the same God. It's similar because they worship true monotheism. Well, Jesus was a Jewish rabbi. He taught the Shema. He said that's a really important commandment. But this Shema is completely different from Tawheed. They're not the same. You don't see the Shema Israel in the Quran. That's never taught. Jesus's teachings are completely distinct from Islam. I would just sum it up there. Block, you have anything else to add on in that time?
No, I don't have anything in particular to add on. If you wanted to continue, feel free.
Okay, how much time we got? Oh, just 1 minute? Okay. Block, you had some pretty good points when you shared your screen about the plagiarism from the Quran too. And this could also, we'll give it to Nadir.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Nadir, your 2 minutes is starting whenever you start talking.
So I think it's, as I was saying, it's very important that when I respond to these guys, I respond with facts. Okay? Not coming up with, your own opinion and things like that. So, or else that would be very hypocritical of me to, for me to do that. So you pointed out that the concept of God inside Islam is different from the concept of God according to the Jews. Let's look and see what the facts tell us. So the Jewish people, their rabbis with a fine-tooth comb, have carefully looked at the concept of what's it called? Of God inside Islam. Okay? Let's take a look over here. Let's see what the facts tell us. The Jewish custodians consider Islam pure, unblemished monotheism. Let's click on the link. This is from the AI overview, Jewish traditions. The Islamic concept of God is considered a pure, unblemished monotheism that worships the same transcendent deity as Judaism. Let's go.
Admitted. I mean, we can show contradictions that disprove its monotheism, but granted, not even granted, admitted, yes, it is classified as monotheism. But however he defines true monotheism, I'm not sure how he defines that. But I mean, whether Jews consider it monotheism is number one, it's not relevant, but they're not wrong. We definitely agree they're not wrong because that is the formal classification of the theology of Islam, even though there is contradictions that undermine it that we have, definitely.
But here's the other problem. He's reading something, right? He has the ability to share his screen. You know, not there in Muslims, they have what he likes to do is most of the time, and he'll have like a document and he'll have his own stuff, but he won't be like an original source. And he'll just read it and he'll tell you, oh, it's from XYZ. Well, how do I know that's exactly what XYZ? That's why I really like debates when they're like on StreamYard or any of the streaming apps where you can share your screen, because that way you can share your screen and people can see exactly what it is that you're reading. Because let's face
I'll
it.
make a quick comment. So every now and then when he shares the screens, I kind of somewhat delay on putting it on stage by accident. Sometimes he does. He probably did at that moment. I mean, I don't have my any screenshots of it, but he probably did. I just took a little bit of a delay pulling it up. So, but he does though during the debate. Excuse me.
Go to the website, My Jewish Learning. It says over here, according to most Jewish thinkers, Islam is not idolatry. Okay, but authorities have disagreed as to whether it's better to convert or be martyred, etc. So we are in agreement here that, you know, it's so the issue in tonight's debate, this is a Hindu Christian versus Islam and Judaism debate. The idol worshippers are on your side. In fact, the Hindus are also debating the deity of Christ as well. Why? Because they can see that the concept,
what does that matter?
Their concepts are in your religion. So if you go to the Hindu channels, they are actually debating this as well. So, but you know what I find shocking tonight? Look at my my presentation.
Thumbs up, Nadir.
There are no facts to support Christianity, and these guys are all cool with it.
Okay. All right. Nadir's time is up.
Let me get this.
Whenever y'all ready,
let me know when. I'll let you guys comment on that.
What kind of straw man bull is that? The guys had the main facts and y'all comfortable with that. Boy, what you talking about, son? Exactly, bro. He needs some milk.
Oh yeah, he needs some milk. It's just really funny though. What relevance is it to talk about Hindus debating the deity of Christ? He says in the message right here, who went off topic? We can talk about later. I mean, the hypocrisy, the audacity of Nadir, man. That's oh boy. Kuparphobia, I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
Oh no, that's okay. I'm just saying this guy, I told you, man, this guy is he's in a level all by himself.
He's on a different speed, whole different, you know.
I want his drugs, man.
All right. Yeah, let me know when it's like 1 minute. Stop me when it's 1 minute so Block can take the other minute to respond.
Sure.
So
sure.
I'll just give like a brief explanation. So give me 1 second here. Okay, you can go ahead and start the time. So Judaism and Islam are both monotheistic. That's true, but the theological architecture is different. They're structured very differently. Okay, one places God as not loving to most people. Okay, his attribute is al-wadud, the most loving, while the God that's depicted in Judaism is love. Like 1 John 5:8 and 14. I think that's right.
I just want to make clear
that God.
I misquoted that as 1 John 4:8 and 16.
So I wasn't sure if I quoted that during the middle of the debate. Oh my God. God is love. But also you'll find countless times in the Torah, also in the Tanakh, the books of the prophets, the Psalms, God is love. He doesn't just love believers, he loves even the non-believers. He is the Redeemer. He's going to come and save his people by providing them salvation. Go ahead, Block. Where's the salvation in Islam? Go ahead, Block.
All right, so I'm going to take a different approach to sort of address some of the stuff that Nadir earlier mentioned. So Nadir earlier mentioned that First Thessalonians propagates hatred against the Jewish people. I would argue the opposite from the mouth of Christ himself, right? The famous verse, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life, right? That includes the Jewish people. But on the other hand, in Surah 98:6, it calls the Jews and the Christians the worst of all creatures, right? So which religion is propagating hate against the Jews and the Christians? I would call that anti-Semitic on Allah's part and Christophobic as well, right? You said, again, that the Trinity comes from Hinduism. Musk touched on that, right? Hinduism propagates more than some tritheistic propagation of God. We propagate one God expressed in three persons. And I'll just leave it at that. Or if I could just say one more thing, like another 15 seconds, is that good? Or should I just leave it like
That's
that?
up to Nadir if he allows it.
No, I think that's good enough because there's a lot of points here. Okay, so the big shock I think everybody should be getting here is Christians are not interested in putting any points on the board. They are what they're doing. I mean, look at this. This is so nuts. If you look at where the facts lie, okay, they're talking about everything except a big, elephant in the room, and that is there are no facts to support the deity of Christ. Look at this table here. I mean, I don't know how they can stomach this. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so we can kind of have a bird's eye view of it.
You see that look? You see me right there? I was just, kind of looking around like, who is he talking about? I don't. It was so ridiculous at that point. I didn't know how to deal with it. So the audacity of him, it just amazes me, guys.
Facts support Islam. They never once.
Oh, go ahead, Babu. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say something smart. You good? Continue.
All right.
Today's discussion said, no, these are not facts. These are your opinion, Nadir. Okay, they never once disputed any of these things. Look at Christianity. There are no facts to support it. None. And they're okay with it. So that's a big shock, really. And so going back to your point, the whole issue about God loving and stuff like that, the fact that the New Testament is responsible for the Holocaust is not what I consider love. Okay? What you're doing, you're running away from the facts which I presented to you, where it said that the rabbis, the Jewish people, do accept that Muslims worship the one true God. And so you said, okay, but look at some of these differences. That's your own personal opinion. The whole issue about chapter 98, verse 6, beautiful example, which you have presented. But what I have advised you to do as a sincere advice is you need to start producing facts, not your interpretation of the Quran. Show me in the world where anybody has been killed because of chapter 98, verse 6. There is none. But in Thessalonians, people have been killed. That's the difference. Okay, so Islam criticizes the Jews and the Christians, but no one dies as a result of that. If so, show me the evidence.
Time's up.
Okay. All
right, we're gonna go back and forth maybe a couple more times because I gotta go do something with my kids and get them something for homecoming.
Yeah, no problem. You want to go back and forth like maybe 2 or 3 more times and then do conclusions?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. So
whenever you're ready.
I just want to.
Yeah, like you can go first. Go ahead.
Mus, are you okay if I just perfect?
Yeah.
So again, just to touch on the things that Nadir was saying, he earlier stated that Islam is a facts-based religion while actively denying the fact of the crucifixion in chapter 4:157, which we already proved the crucifixion did happen. Atheist, right? Earlier he mentioned the royal we in Genesis. I'm just touching on the earliest points you mentioned, just so that you can't say we didn't address anything. The royal, it's not going to be a royal we. I can give you Isaiah 48, verse 12 to 16, where we could see all three persons mentioned in there as the Lord, right? So we can propagate that and say that that proves the triune nature of.
Sorry, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I kind of let it play. I had to take a phone call. Do you guys want to respond to all that?
I'm just losing brain cells over here.
Awesome.
I'm here, but you know.
She's here in spirits.
No, I'm not hearing spirits. I know y'all hear that baby in the background.
I know.
No, that's no problem. You are perfectly fine. You want me to continue playing? Y'all don't have any comments on anything he said?
Go ahead.
Awesome. Okay. I didn't even hear any of that. I kind of just muted my laptop for a second.
Of our God. Again, he says Christians are pagans. Again, we already addressed this, right? Christians coined the term for non-believers. He says Christianity preached more than one God. Show me one verse. Yes.
Yeah, Block. I was going to build on that point about the royal we, if I can, like 10 seconds. So the royal we, again, whenever you talk about plagiarism, for example, in the Bible, if it's plagiarizing from pagan sources, again, you have to demonstrate the author had access and was influenced to plagiarize. So same thing with the royal we. Demonstrate that the author is directly inspired to use the royal we. I mean, I've had some people tell me that there's euphemisms in the Bible that relate to sexual acts, but there's no clear evidence that it's using a euphemism. Same way, you're trying to use the royal we. The context is direct. The language is not ambiguous. It's not metaphor. It's saying we.
Time's up.
Okay. Any comments on that?
I think I missed the part about the. What was his argument about the royal we?
Yeah.
So we didn't even really. We didn't even really touch on the we too much. I mean, I think Block. I don't even know if Block briefly mentioned it at all, to be honest. I think he just went over it to go over it. I don't think there was any part of the debate where we went over it. If we did briefly, I didn't catch it. But he was arguing that the we that's mentioned in the Bible is royal we. It's not actually referring to more than one person, not referring to a trinity. It's royal. So I'm calling him out saying no. Definitely can't be using that, that's for sure. What are your thoughts, Mr. Kufar Phobia? Oh, excuse me, Dr. Kufar Phobia.
I just thought maybe you was trying to say that the royal we somehow in Christianity proves that it's more than one God or something like that. If that's the case, then he's got a problem, because the Quran, they claim it's the royal we's, and you can't just change the definition to fit your narrative. So there is no different versions of the royal we. It's only one royal we. So if he's trying to say that the royal we, which first of all, in the Old Testament, there's no such thing as a royal we, because I believe Hebrew doesn't really have a royal we like we know it. Or if you try to say, since this is about Jesus, that somehow it's showing some kind of connection to paganism, multiple gods, then he's going to have the same problem with Islam, because he can't change the definition.
I would agree. Yeah. Good point. Well, let's continue then.
So I'm so glad that well, first of all, the issue of crucifixion is not a fact. Okay. And secondly, we don't deny the crucifixion. We just deny that it was Jesus who got crucified. Somebody definitely was crucified. So there's no conflict there. Okay. But I've shown you that this is an evil belief. I choose the crucifixion story
I'll
in the
pause
Quran.
it there for a second. I think we can all comment on this if you're up to it. You are denying the crucifixion if you're saying Jesus wasn't crucified. You are definitely, most certainly denying.
That is one of the most historically attested facts that not even the guy that they love to use, Imam Bart Ehrman, would tell you that it didn't happen. Now, the divinity and the resurrection, we can put that aside, but the crucifixion, and you can't just say, well, we believe in the crucifixion, but we just don't believe. I mean, you want me to believe that story? That, I mean, what is the focal point of Christianity? The fact that we believe that Jesus was crucified, right? Not the fact that we believe some Joe off the street was crucified, right? The fact that Jesus was crucified. I mean, his mother was there, other people were there. That's what Christianity is based on. To say that, well, we believe in crucifixion, we just don't believe it was Jesus. Where's your evidence? You can't just say, well, the Quran says it was made to appear. So wait a minute. Was that like a CGI before CGI was invented? I mean, seriously, I don't understand, because there's other verses in the Quran that clearly say, if you know the Arabic, that Jesus, Allah says, I will cause you to die and then I will raise you. Well, I'm sorry. Also, there's a verse that says, blessed is the day that I was born, the day that I will die, and the day that I will be raised. I mean, if you have a brain, there's a logical progression. What has to happen first? You got to be born. What happens next? You got to die. What happens next? You're going to be raised. Well, Muslims say that Jesus was raised. Well, you can't just skip from point A and go to point C and say, no. What he means is that he's going to come back and then he's going to die. That's not what it says.
Well, I think you're going to like the response for this, because that's going to backfire on them.
Okay.
Quran, which brings peace and mutual respect to the world, not hatred and contempt like the wicked teachings of the New Testament, which is an evidence. That's what happens when you worship a pagan god. Okay, evil things happen, and the Holocaust, as a result of Thessalonians, is an example of that. Though you seem to have misunderstood my point on the royal we. What I am saying is, look how the Christians respond to that. They don't provide facts. They provide wacky, quacky, cockamamie interpretations of the Bible. Like in this one verse of the Bible, you could see all the three gods mentioned there. The three persons are mentioned there. It's a euphemism, everybody. They go back to the Old Testament and start reinterpreting it. That's the quacky, wacky world of born-again Christianity. But Islam doesn't do that. Islam provides real facts, not baloney Bible interpretations. That's the difference. Islam is a fact-based religion. It's not a quack. It's not a quack. And the divinity of Christ is based upon interpretation quackery. That is so shocking. So no, nowhere in the Bible does it say God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. I mean, nowhere does it say that in the Old Testament. That is their quackological interpretations of the Old Testament. And so the issue here is, you guys should just come forward and accept that we just reinterpret the Old Testament to the way we like it. Go ahead.
Time's up.
Okay.
All right. A couple of more back and forths, and then we all can do the conclusions. All right.
Okay.
So
Yes, sir.
whenever you start, Moose.
Awesome. First thing, again, if we're talking in terms of
the Quran are facts, since you apparently know facts so well. Well, respond to the points I'm making. Demonstrate that it's reliable history. We demonstrate it's a retelling of other stories, like the Jewish and Christian sources and other apocryphal and other Jewish literature. It's not a unique source from God. I mean, you said this about the crucifixion, that it's retelling the crucifixion to address the Satanism of it, or that it's coming from the devil. No, I mean, this is going to backfire on you. Okay, Allah is a
Prepare for this. I'm telling you, this is great. Because I was texting Block in the middle of that before we responded. I was like, hey, let me respond to him, because this is going to backfire. It's going to set the stage for his nonsense. And he will not respond to it. He refuses to. Check this out.
a deceiver, to address the Satanism of it, or that it's coming from the devil. No, I mean, this is going to backfire on you. Okay, Allah is a deceiver. He made Jesus appear like he was being crucified. So Allah made it look like a devil's religion coming about. So this is what you're demonstrating by attempting to show us the crucifixion as something that derives from the devil. But again, we would rather have you substantiate your claims with facts. We've been giving you facts all day. But where's your facts? Because you've been giving me ChatGPT, you've been going to blogs and all kinds of other posts. None of these are facts. I've been asking you academic sources the whole time, but I haven't seen one academic source from you. I've given sources on sources, like Richard Bauckham, Bart Ehrman, Gabriel S. Reynolds. I still have more, like Philip Scaff on the church. Philip Scaff believes Jesus was the founder of the church, and it started with the church, that Jesus was crucified and risen. That's foundational to Christianity. And if Allah is the cause of it, then Allah caused Christianity, apparently, not Islam, because he made Jesus appear as he was crucified. He caused the biggest religion in the world, while Islam is fastly declining.
Wow. Did you see how that backfired on him? You got to watch what he says next, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts, because that is crazy. He's going to say, oh, the crucifixion's a devil's narrative. The Quran came, and not this Christianity. This Islam came and corrected that. It gives us a new telling of what actually happened. Well, what actually happened caused the devil's religions. It just backfires on him bad.
Yeah, I just want to see what his response gonna be, because dude just ugh.
I promise you, it's nothing interesting. I'll just play it.
Okay.
All right. Time's up. It's on you whenever you're ready, Nadir.
Sure. All of that is interesting, but it's all off topic. This is shocking. First of all, the retelling of stories, unique.
Wow. Off topic, indeed. Told you his response is going to be crazy. He just dismissed all that. I think he knows that was going to bury him or bake him, whatever you want to call it. Kupar Phobia still here, bro?
Who, me? Yeah, I'm still here, man. Me and Chad are having a good chow down.
All right. Let's continue.
You're trying to show plagiarism of the Quran. The Quran has already, this is like the fourth time in tonight's debate. And I guess you guys choose not to listen. Maybe you guys don't have experience in debating. I don't know. The Quran provides a beautiful explanation for why you see the similarities. All right. It said that, look, I'm not going to repeat it, but, I'll just repeat it very quickly. The issue here is, look, the divine, revelation is not just to the Abrahamic lineage, but also to others as well. All the nations of people have been given prophets. So much of that material is now scattered throughout all the various books, and as well as rituals and things like that. So Islam simply so if you do see a similarity, that's because we believe that originally that source was originally from God. Now, why do I have to explain that 4 times to you people, which is all off topic, but what is shocking in tonight's debate, these guys are no longer interested in really trying to establish facts.
He says it's all off topic, but he brought this up. He's okay.
From the Christian faith standpoint of view, no. So I think that's
I accidentally just went off there. He's the one that brought it up. I'll get back to the timestamp. He brought it up. He brought up plagiarism. So he brought up something that's off topic, admittedly, just right there. I mean, he admitted it earlier, but he just did it again. So that's all I want to say about that. I got to find that timestamp again. I lost it by messing that up. Oh, boy. Picked it in Islam, which included his genealogy, his religion. I was going to build on that point about the royal we.
Explain that 4 times to you people, which is all off topic. Facts for the divinity of Christ. Okay? They're in some la-la land. They're trying to just kind of even the score by pointing out, look, Allah started Christianity by making it appear so. I would not be talking about that stuff if I were you. So the issue tonight, which they're not taking, so the issue here is they didn't even object, or they didn't even say, yeah, they didn't deny that I'm just giving my interpretations of the Old Testament versus stating facts about the book, which is exactly what I have presented to you, that Christianity is a wacky, quacky, interpretation-based religion. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's right. They're not disputing that. You should come and show facts to show that the Old Testament people worshiped a triune God, not interpretation.
Time's up. All right, this will be the last one.
We don't give interpretations. We don't give interpretations. We just read.
Okay.
Just to respond to Nadir, right? So just because we don't specifically touch up on the divinity of Christ does not negate the fact of Jesus historically being crucified, proving that the Jesus that we worship is the historically accurate Jesus, and the Jesus of the Quran is not historically accurate. Therefore, the claims of the Quran pertaining to Christ are false. We are not obliged to go and prove the divinity. We're glad to. We're not obliged to prove the divinity. All we have to do is historically show that Jesus was crucified and that he resurrected, to show again that our Jesus is the true Messiah, and your version of Jesus is a failed false Messiah, this Islamic Isa. So we are on topic, Sir Nadir. We are on topic. We've been on topic the entire time. You want to shift the goalpost to run away from the evidence that we presented, right? And throw a bunch of ad hominems, right? And that's on you. We have the facts. That's it. And that's that.
Okay.
Moose, if you want to respond, you still got 45 seconds.
Sure. I mean, it's appropriately addressing Nadir to go over the points we did, okay? Because he brought up points about the crucifixion, the deity of Christ. I mean, we didn't even go really in depth with our opening statements about the deity of Christ, because that wasn't even necessary. Like, I went over the role of Jesus in Islam compared to Christianity, this sin that puts Jesus out of the fold of Islam, which is not something you wanted to respond to, or how Jesus fulfills the Old Testament, but in Islam, there's no need for him to fulfill the Old Testament. There's no context to why Jesus is the Messiah, why he's a prophet, why he had to be born of a virgin mother. There's no context for these things, but these are the things you're not responding to. So we're having to walk with you here. Like I said, we're going to respond to you with grace and love, man. We'll walk with you, but also I think it's worth mentioning that you need to reply to us with facts and substantiation. But more importantly, stick to the topic. Read. Just read. No interpretations.
Thumbs up. All right, Ahmed, you go with your 2 minutes, and then y'all will do the closing statements.
Well, I try to stay on topic. Jesus being the claim that Jesus is God, this is a pretty big part of this discussion. Now, I just do, you keep saying, oh, you're quoting Chat GPT. All the false religions are scared of Chat GPT. Okay. And a lot of what you have, what you are raising today, so that the fact that Jesus is that the Islamic view of Jesus is not historically accurate, it's 100% historically accurate. We believe in I mean, I shouldn't have to be repeating this for you guys like 4 or 5 times in a debate. You should first. And I think the problem is you're not listening. You're in some la la land. I think we accept the crucifixion, but we believe it wasn't Jesus who was crucified. Rather, somebody was made to appear to themselves to be like that. Okay. Nowhere in the Quran does it say Allah the deceiver or any of the garbage which you spewed. All of that is an irrelevant topic, which really, really doesn't address what we are talking about. So for the false religions and the idol worshippers, they are afraid of ChatGPT. Why Islam is not afraid? Why? Because Islam is logical. Islam is rational, is based on facts. So we have no problem with ChatGPT. In fact, ChatGPT refutes you guys. Here we go. Some people say, "Oh, well, that's just AI." Here's how this is a logical fallacy called the genetic fallacy. It occurs when someone tries to discredit an argument solely based on where it comes from, rather than evaluating its content or reason, which is what you guys are doing. In fact, the content and reason you guys all agree with. Here's how to respond to these people. It doesn't matter where the logic came from, a human, a machine, or a chalkboard. What matters is whether the reasoning is valid. If you think the conclusion is wrong, show me which premise is false or where the logic breaks down. I think we are all in a okay, sorry.
Thumbs up. You can wrap it up in your
we got 5 minutes closing. Is that what
5-minute closing.
Okay, guys. So listen, I'm gonna cut the screen off there. That's gonna be I don't really want to go into the conclusions because I have to go in a minute. Okay. But everybody is welcome to go back and watch them. But first, before we go into responding to what just transpired, both of you tell me, did any of you guys, again, his comment was, I provided facts which supported the Islamic version of Jesus. I shared them on my desktop. Where? Did you guys see that? Because we decided through the open discussion, he didn't give a single one. And then for the 2-minute segments, what do you guys think? Did he give it?
No, I didn't see any, and I would challenge him to prove to me that the Isa in the Quran is a historical figure. I would debate him on that. Because
he ran away from the main one.
Because he keeps saying, well, I give you facts and I give you facts and you guys know facts. Well, okay, where's your facts? Let's take a look at it, because as a matter of fact, I think that would be a great debate. Isa versus Jesus, who is historically supported. And I would like to see Nadir provide his sources that Isa is a historical figure and not a made-up name coming with the coming of Islam and the Quran. Where historically can he corroborate that the Isa in the Quran is a historical figure, right? I mean, he's supposed to be a fact-based guy, right? So I'd like to see where is his facts, right? Because one thing that you have to notice about Nadir, he likes to throw facts around like it's candy, but he never provides any, right? Because he knows nobody's really going to challenge him. But I would challenge him. Where is your facts? Where is your historical, archaeological, hell, any kind of sources that he has that would prove that Isa of the Quran is a historical? Because that would be a problem. You can't have two historical people that are supposed to be the same. Either That's Jesus is historical or Isa is historical. You can't have a historical Jesus and a historical Isa.
Right. So I'll just say one thing, okay? Because he says it all the time, and we already addressed this. But it's the genetic fallacy. All right, let me try to replicate his voice as great as I can. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. But It's the genetic fallacy. Again, like I said, it's appropriate to criticize those sources he's using, considering they're unacademic. It's an academic debate. Bring academic sources. Where's the academics in ChatGPT? He's giving me biased answers that he had a chat with, most of which were manipulation. Like I said, he got it to say that the excuse me, that the divinity of Christ is mythological according to ChatGPT. And when I asked ChatGPT, it didn't agree. So obviously there was some manipulation going on there. But then he says, when I criticize all that stuff, oh, it's a genetic fallacy. Yeah, that's just his appeal to get away from that problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to post on your debate on your thing because he's probably going to see it, and I'm just curious.
I'll send you his email. You can email him.
Oh no, trust me, I have his email. Trust me, I have his email. We've gone back and forth, but the last kind of debate. Well, yeah, I'll probably write him. But the last time we wrote back, and we actually had a debate, but it was supposed to be I wasn't allowed to release it, and I guess it wasn't even a debate. His argument was, oh, you see Islam, because he loves to bring up the alcohol argument. Oh, Islam forbids alcohol and alcohol fetal whatever as it's scientific. So yeah, actually, you know what? I think I still have his email in my Gmail. I'll shoot him an email, but I know he's going to be watching. He's going to be watching the debate video and looking at the comments. So, and I think he knows who I am.
Yep. Well, that's going to be my final comment because most of what he said at the end there, and of course the other segments we watched, we already responded to it. There's no point in even responding again. Unless you guys want to comment on that, Banku, you want to make an ending comment there?
Nah, I'm just saying next time y'all need to just debate him with strictly ChatGPT and see how that works.
I mean, from what I saw a lot of deviations from the topic, but I'm glad you guys didn't really fall for it. I saw a lot of facts. I'm giving you guys facts, and and one of the things that really pisses me off, he's very demeaning, right? He's very insultive, not in a nasty kind of way, but still, regardless, he's insulting the individual and the religion, and he thinks he's slick. What's his name? Central Dawa did that to me. After about an hour and something minutes, I got tired of it, and I called him Circle Dawa, and he kicked me off of our debates. But so he's very sly, right? And he wants the audience to think, well, I provided facts. I gave them facts, but what facts? I didn't see any.
Right.
Maybe I need a new pair of glasses. I mean, it could be. But I didn't see any. And what I saw was him going into areas that had nothing to do with debate. That's like the debate was supposed to be about bananas, and all of a sudden he's trying to talk about pineapples. Hey, listen, I like bananas and I like pineapples, but we're debating bananas. So you gotta be really strong to deal with Nadir.
Well, thank you too for. Any final comments between the both of you?
No, I think you guys did an excellent job.
I think I did a good job too.
I mean, I think you guys being so young, you guys got to just keep.
Yeah, I appreciate that, little one. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Love you too. All right, guys. Well, without further ado, we'll cut it off. Banku, I hope your night goes good. Sounds like it's a he. Am I right? Or is it a she?
It's a she.
Okay. Yeah. I hope she gets to have some playtime with you. God bless.
Yeah, that's what she been doing the whole time. That's why I kept having to log back on every time I was logged off.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me.
All right, no
Marco,
problem.
you have a good rest of your day, kind of weekend. Appreciate you guys jumping on with me. It was awesome.
I'm sure
No
we'll see
problem.
you on TikTok.
Like I promised
Mhm.
Nadir, we were going to jump on here and expose all his nonsense. So maybe he'll tune back in, maybe watch it if he wasn't tuned in today, and he'll reflect on how much of a moron he is. Like I love him. Like I said in the beginning, I love him because he's a brother in humanity.
Right.
I wish nothing but the best for this guy. And after I got back from church, I prayed for him. I really want nothing but the best for him. But he is a moron. He is a moron.
Can you do me a favor when you're clipping? I want you to add this part that I'm about to say.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. As an academic, this was the most pathetic performance I have ever seen for someone who claims to be knowledgeable in Islam. It was horrible. I just want you to clip that and put that in there whenever you do that video.
Well, you got it right there. You're gonna see that because I have a funny clip from God Logic that I'll use in that. So I'll put what you just said after that. That'll be funny.
Appreciate it because it just aggravated me. He just
All
ChatGPT
right.
is the new academic source.
yeah.
Well, maybe I'll just have to have a Chat GPT debate with him, maybe. Or Kupar. Kupar, you're an expert. You do a Chat GPT debate with him.
Yeah, but hold on a second. There is a chat prompt which you can install. I don't know if you need the paid version. That, like, especially if you're doing academic work, it will only pull from actual academic sites or academic papers, right? So it's a little bit more advanced than the regular chat that you and I use. And I know depending on if you're on which paid plan you're in, you get more advanced information than the regular chat that we use on the free plan. But I know there's one or two. I think they call chat bots or whatever. They work inside chats, but they only pull from academic sources. So I'm gonna try it out, see if it works.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I'm gonna shut this down. Kufar, I'm gonna put you on the spot. You want to close this out in prayer?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What I mean? I said close this out in prayer, bro.
I'm very bad at praying, man. I'm not the type of person. I have to say, I'm not really good Christian when it comes to prayer.
Man, all you gotta do is talk to God. What you mean?
All right. In the name of Jesus, God, thank you for everything that you do for us. Thank you for people like us. We need more young people like him who are exposing the lies of Satan, who are bringing people to you. May they always continue. May you watch over them, protect them. May you watch over Banku and her little daughter. And may we always remember that you are our Father. You're not our master. We are not your slaves. And that you loved us so much that you thought about us and you sent us your son to sacrifice himself, die on the cross, and be resurrected so that by his blood, we would have salvation, something that Muslims do not have with their fake Allah. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, y'all. I'm going to cut this off. So appreciate you guys jumping on again. I'll see y'all around for sure. And I'll let you guys know if I have another stream or something. This will be the end of the debate review. I'm not doing another part. Like I said, in the conclusions, I do not think he gave any bullet listed points. We saw throughout the debate he did not. So hopefully Nadir will reflect on it. But without further ado, guys, God bless you.
All right, God bless.
I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, later.
God bless.
Right. All right, folks. Appreciate anybody that's tuned in today. We're going to cut this off. So as we saw, like I was just telling the brothers and sister, that Nadir is a lazy baby. He is. Reflect on that if you ever watched this. I just want you to know. He is a lazy baby. Baby Nadir. Well, listen, we love him. We wish nothing but the best for him, and I hope you guys will understand, where he comes from and pray for him as much as I did. And hopefully God will reveal Himself to him, and the seed will be planted someday. But without that being said, y'all, God bless you, and good night.